What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Grim Reaper, Power Ranking 1 PR Chapter 1, Shinigami Power Rankings. Soul Society, Seirei. A young man with a handsome face and a deadly costume is patrolling the streets of Seirei, but at this moment his face is full of anxiety. The young man's name is Ling Yu, who is not from this world. He traveled to the Shinigami world 2 years ago and became a member of the 13th Division of Godei. As a time traveler, Ling Yu thought that she was talented or had systematic help, and she became a strong super captain early on, holding Yunohana Retsu on the left and Matsumoto Rangaku on the right. But he didn't expect that he would still be a team member for 2 years, not to mention the strength of the super captain, even the strength of the vice captain, he would not be able to achieve it. Aizen has defected from the Soul Society for a while, and according to the development of the original plot, he will attack Karakura Town soon. Yamamoto Motoyanagi's old thing, it's fine to copy Karakura Town outside Soul Society Rukongai, but when Aizen and Arankar attack, it hangs up for so long. Ling Yu wanted to scold her, the soldier's life is not his life, right? Even if Ling Yu survived the battle in Karakura Town by chance, and Yuhabach led the Star-Crossed Knights to massacre the Soul Society, at that time, he would be 100% responsible. Don't say that he is only at the level of a team member, even Kira Izuru, who is close to the captain's level, can only be defeated in seconds against the Quincy. As soon as the Millennium Bloody War chapter appeared, Basibi pierced his chest and broke his arm. I can only say that Kira is miserable. Although Kira did not die, she was transformed into a body by Kurotsuchi Mayuri and lived a nondescript life. Ling Yu knew in his heart that if he really dragged the Quincy to attack the Soul Society, it would be unrealistic for him to even pray for his whole body to be preserved when he died. Just when Ling Yu was deep in thought, a clear mechanical female voice suddenly sounded in her mind. Open black lens bracket ding. The Shinigami Gold List system is bound successfully. Close black lens bracket. Ling Yu was taken aback for a moment and then ecstatically. The system is coming, Shinigami Gold List system? Ling Yu took a deep breath and checked the functions of the system with excitement. By compiling the list about the Shinigami world and exposing it, you can get the ability from 10,000 realms. Compile the Shinigami world's leaderboard, you can also get the ability from 10,000 realms. After seeing the functions of the system, Ling Yu had mixed feelings in her heart. You must know that Wanji has many abilities, such as Ninja World, Pirate World, One Punch Man World and so on. Obtain ninjutsu in the Ninja World or Devil Fruit ability in the Pirate World, unless it is the top ability, otherwise in the Shinigami World, you will still be beaten as a dog. Just take a template of a character from the world of Dragon Ball and I'll be content. After Ling Yu breathed a sigh of relief, she began to focus on the editorial list. Shinigami World List, what should I edit? Zanpakuto Leaderboard? Holy Text Ability Leaderboard? The list of tragic characters? These are good options, but not intuitive enough. Ling Yu pondered for a moment and finally decided. Shinigami Character Combat Power Ranking. Godei 13, Team 0, Espada, Star-Crossed Knights. The list goes on and on. The system is very convenient, and the list and edited content in Ling Yu's mind are quickly completed. Upload. Present world. The new semester begins, Kurosaki Ichigo and a group of students enter the class, and the homeroom teacher Miyuki Ochi is doing roll call. Kurosaki Ichigo is thinking about Rukia, absent-mindedly. But at this moment, a shout came from outside the class, pulling him out of his thoughts. Hey, B**********D. Get out. Kurosaki Ichigo, I know you're there. Abarai Renji looked up and yelled at the teaching building. Ichigo, is that your friend? Keigo Asano looked at the old-fashioned Renji below and complained. It turned out to be clothes from the 1960s. Kurosaki Ichigo immediately ran out of the classroom and asked Renji's purpose in this world. Renji explained that he was in charge of Karakura Street, asked Urahara Kazuki, and came to say hello to Ichigo. I didn't expect that one family didn't appreciate it. While the two were arguing, the sky suddenly darkened, followed by a huge black vortex, which formed a huge rectangular screen after a brief flicker. This phenomenon does not only appear in the present world, the same scene has appeared in Soul Society, Hueco Mundo, and even the Invisible Empire. What's the situation? Is it false? Aware of the abnormality, Ichigo stopped arguing with Renji, and the two looked at the skies solemnly at the same time. No trace of Shu was found. Ichigo took out his cell phone and found nothing unusual. The pitch-black area really looked like a black cavity at first, but how did it become a big screen in the end? Renji frowned. Seirei. The captains of the various teams looked at the big screen in the sky and were also extremely shocked. Yeah, it seems like something bad happened. Jingle Chunshui, wearing a bamboo hat and a floral robe, glanced at the sky. Aizen Naneo stroked her eyes and looked at Jingle Chunshui coldly. Could it be Captain Ni's invention? Jashiro rubbed the back of his head, thinking that the screen in the sky was the masterpiece of Kurotsuchi Mayuri. Interesting, a big screen appeared out of thin air. Kurotsuchi Mayuri, wearing a black and white two-color mask, has a flash of starlight in his golden eyes. Maybe it can be used for technology development. Just when the entire Shinigami world was shocked, a huge light suddenly flashed beside the high-altitude screen, and then a virtual image like a scroll slowly unfolded. Gold list of combat power. The 4 golden words emitted a bright light, and at the same time words began to appear on the big screen. Inventory of Shinigami World Battle Rankings. Close black lens bracket Chapter 2, Quincy. Star-Crossed Knights. Shinigami World Battle Ranking. Everyone in the Shinigami world widened their eyes in disbelief. Hueco Mundo, inside the Void Knight Palace. Espada's 6th blade, Grimmjow put his hands in his pockets and smiled evilly. HMPH, what am I supposed to be? It turns out to be the combat power ranking list. Grimmjow's subordinate officer, Xiao Long Kufang's eyes lit up. Since it's the ranking list of combat power, Master Grimmjow will definitely be on the list. Ruby Aunt Noelle on the side laughed disdainfully. Stop joking. She never put Grimmjow in her eyes, and she didn't think he could appear in the battle list. Court death? Grimmjow's blue eyes flicked to stare at Ruby. 4-bladed Ulquiorra cipher, 1-bladed Coyote Stark and the others looked flat, but did not speak. Invisible Empire. In the void and darkness, Yuhabach sat on the stone chair. Below stood rows of members of the Star-Crossed Knights. Yuhabach slowly opened his eyes, looked up at the gold list of combat power in the void. His expression did not change at all. Even if he had omniscience, he could not foresee the name of the list. The combat power list, His Majesty must be at the top of the list. A holy soldier hurriedly said obsequiously, if you offer some kind words, Your Majesty may be able to empower you. Huh? Are you in front of me a prophet? Yuhabach shifted his gaze to the holy soldier, and slowly raised his arm. The holy soldier was frightened for a moment, and knelt down tremblingly, unable to answer for a long time. Answer me, I'm asking you, are you a prophet? No, the subordinate is not. Then why did you tell me about the distant future? A ray of holy light shot out from Yuhabach's fingertips, and the holy soldier was instantly shattered. But at this moment, the 50th place name appeared on the gold list. 50th place in the combat power list, Cherokee Opie. Name: Cherokee Opie Force, Invisible Empire Identity, Destroyer. Ability: Holy Text J, Jail, Attack, 77 Defense, 75. Speed: 79 Intelligence, 73 Vitality, 80 Ryatsu, 72. Combat Power: 100,000, Quincy. In this world, Inoue Orihime Sado and others have gathered together. Uryu, are you the same Quincy? Kurosaki Ichigo asked. Uryu has mentioned the relationship between Quincy and Shinigami before. He didn't expect that the Quincy, who was on the verge of disappearing, would be the first to appear on the combat power list. The identity shows that the Quincy should be correct, but it may be a Quincy who has passed away. Yulong considered that since it was the gold list of combat power, it might not necessarily be the people who are living in the present, and it might include the dead strong ones. Invisible Empire, never heard of it at all. Renji was confused. Invisible Empire? Quincy? It has a combat power of 100,000? There is no comparison. I don't know whether the combat power of 100,000 is high or low, and the ability of this Quincy is also a mystery. Hitsugaya Tōshirō frowned slightly. The combat power of the 50th place is 100,000. The combat value of the higher ranking must be even more terrifying. Where can they rank Shinigami? Captain, 100,000 fighting power isn't very high. You can easily exceed this value if you activate Bankai. Rangaku approached Tōshirō with 2 humps on his back, bent down and smiled in his ear. Bankai is Shinigami's ultimate move. In Gode 13, except for the battle madman Zaraki Kenpachi, all the other captains have Bankai. So Rangaku believes that the Tōshirō who unlocks Bankai can definitely surpass the 50th Quincy. However, at this time, the video has already started playing on the big screen. A man wearing a military cap, round-frame sunglasses with a communication device, and a short white Quincy cloak over his military uniform is fighting 3 female Arankars. The man has a thin face, with 8-character eyebrows, and sharp lips, which look very greasy. He is a member of the Knights of the Star Cross, with the holy letter J, prison, Cherokee Opie. In just one meeting, 3 of Harry Bell's subordinates, Apache, Mira Rhodes and Sun, were instantly killed by Ji. At this time, Kurosaki Ichigo and Nilu rushed to the battlefield, and Kuruji turned to look at them with a wicked smile. How? Is this impossible? The 3 beasts were actually defeated. The cute little girl Nilu wearing a skull mask looked at Arankar who fell to the ground in astonishment. A Shinigami with an Arankar on his back came here. It's really rare, but I know you, Kurosaki Ichigo. Kuruji's voice sounded mocking. Your Majesty has information about you in the information that His Majesty gave to all our team members. You are the special force that needs to be dealt with first. At this point in the video, the real Kurosaki Ichigo's pupils exploded. He still doesn't know the concept of Arankar, and he doesn't know why he has contact with the Quincy, and even why does His Majesty, as Kuruji said, have information about him? The man said that Mr. Kurosaki has a special combat power, that is to say, Mr. Kurosaki's strength is stronger than that of a Quincy with a combat power of 100,000. Inoue Orihime put his hands on his chin and said in astonishment. You're the only kid with special strength? Then I'm special strength. Renji crossed his arms and said sarcastically. What are you daydreaming about? The intelligence says that I have a special combat power. Could it be false? You are the one who is jealous. Ichigo is merciless. Invisible Empire. Yuhabach looked at the names on the list and twitched the corner of his mouth slightly. Is Cherokee who has the holy letter J only ranked 50? Interesting. But he doesn't care about the rankings at all. In his eyes, these are nothing more than worthless. On the contrary, it was the picture that appeared in the video that shocked him. His plan to attack Hueco Mundo and destroy the Soul Society is in the future. In other words, the picture played in the video is the future. The future that I am omniscient and omnipotent can't see through, the big screen actually revealed it. In the picture, Kurosaki Ichigo breaks out from the siege of hunting troops, and asks Ji, are you really the Quincy division? Oh, is it possible that we launched a challenge without even knowing who we are? Ji adjusted his glasses and whispered, very well, then I will answer you. As he spoke, the star-cross pendant turned into a long knife. Ji drew out the long knife and pointed the blade at Ichigo. We are the Quincy Masters, you know. The holy killing arrow. A knot-shaped arc formed by spiritual particles appeared on the saber, and instantly shot out multiple light arrows composed of spiritual power. Boom! A deafening explosion sounded, and rose with smoke. All bullets hit. Are you only at this level? Cherokee smiled contemptuously. But as the smoke dissipated, Ichigo's figure reappeared, and the light arrow was caught by him with his bare hands. I heard that Quincy can only use bows. As Ichigo said, he threw the light arrow back with his hands. Chapter 3, Invalid Crescent Skychong. Outside the video, the captains and adjutants had already gathered in the conference hall. Seeing Ichigo's fight, Rukia was too shocked to speak. The Ichigo in the picture is obviously mature, and it should be the future in 1 or 2 years. But in the face of the spiritual light arrow shot by Jiluji who killed 3 Arankars in seconds, Ichigo actually took it with his bare hands? This is too strong. Kurosaki Ichigo's progress is obvious. Byakuya Kuchiki is calm on the surface, but there is turmoil in his heart. Although the battle between himself and Kurosaki Ichigo was a mess, he could feel the potential of Ichigo, and the battle on the screen is enough to show that he didn't miss it. Zaraki Kenpachi was even more ecstatic. Ha ha ha, Kurosaki Ichigo, you are more worthy of fighting me now. In the video, the ground of Hueco Mundo was shaken by the explosion, and Ichigo threw Nilu to Inoue, and he wanted to fight with all his heart. Suddenly several beams shot out from the dust, and Ichigo took out his Zanpakuto to block. Kuruji emerges from the smoke, with Yuhabach's order to desperately trap Kurosaki Ichigo in Hueco Mundo. Come and experience it, you must have heard of it, this is called the power of, the final form of the Quincy Master. He opened his right hand, and the star-cross icon on the glove burst out the ultimate energy immediately. Boom! The blue spiritual beams shot straight into the sky, and formed a light sculpture in the shape of a star-cross in midair. Click! The beam of light shattered like glass, and Kuruji evolved accordingly. A blue halo appeared on the top of the head, and eagle-like Reiki wings grew from the back. At the same time, the saber in his hand also turned into a Reiki state, and even the eyes became membranous. This is his ultimate form, the holy physique of Mie Keishi. Did you feel it, the one who sent down punishment for you, the pulse of my power? Ji stepped on the cluster of spiritual seeds and moved behind Ichigo in an instant. The launch of the flying scythe made Ichigo completely unresponsive. Kuruji held up the spiritual saber, slashed it, and an explosion occurred at Ichigo's feet. Seeing this scene, the corners of Ichigo's mouth twitched in the real world, surprised. The Quincy has evolved, and its power seems to have doubled. Damn it, it appeared behind me in an instant, and I haven't reacted at all. At the same time, he also found that his Zanpakuto had some changes, and he didn't know why. Inoue Orihime looked at Ichigo worriedly, and encouraged him. Kurosaki's strength has been greatly improved as he has become a holy body. Kurosaki seems to be no match for him, but I believe that Kurosaki can win. Flying feet, the speed is so fast. Yulong was very shocked. Although he also knew this move, his level was far from it. Urahara store. Urahara Kazuki's eyes are serious, and the video is a picture of the future. Ichigo's growth was within his expectation, but the appearance of Quincy really shocked him. He knew that the Quincy had been hiding in the dark, but he didn't know the exact hiding place. With the appearance of Quincy, it seems that the Soul Society is going to set off a bloodbath. On screen, Ichigo jumped up to avoid the explosion, and at the same time used Zanpakuto to block Kuruji's pursuit. You seem to be in a state of confusion. I have heard your inner voice, and I can tell you with certainty that it is completely different. The final form of the Quincy that you know, because of its vulnerable characteristics, was as early as 200 years ago. It's just eliminated, it's already a relic of the past. The only ones who are obsessed with those relics and refuse to accept the results of our research are Ishida Zhongshan and his like. It is very different from the Mie Keishi Wan holy body. Ji slashed continuously and slapped his mouth. Really, I don't know about your old things. In short, they are different from Ishida's power. Then I can rest assured. If Ishida becomes like you, I will definitely kill him. The blade is dull. Ichigo frowned, his eyes were determined, and a golden light gathered on Zangetsu. He waved his arms and shouted angrily, crescent sky rushing. Swish. A swift and magnificent sword light slashed down, and the energy wave shook the dust and fog dozens of meters away. But he never thought that Zangetsu stopped at Karuji's neck, was blocked, and did not cut in. That is to say, Crescent Sky Chong did not cause any harm to him at all. The defense is so amazing. As expected of a guy who can be on the combat power list, he can easily defend against Kurosaki Ichigo's Crescent Sky. A look of shock flashed in Rangaku's beautiful eyes. She didn't know how strong Ichigo was in the video, but he resisted the Crescent Sky rush and was unscathed. He evolved into a Quincy Master with a perfect holy body, and his strength should not be underestimated. Yunohana Retsu put her hands in her sleeves. If you don't observe carefully, it's hard to find a trace of uneasiness hidden on her calm face. Could it be Yuhabach? As first-generation Kenpachi, she has fought with Yamamoto Genryuzai's violent group in Yuhabach, and she is also aware of the ability of the Quincy division. It can only be said that Ji Luji's fighting style is very similar to the battle she fought with the Quincy thousands of years ago. The Quincy Master who has evolved into a complete holy body has reached the level of the captain. Even I may not be able to defend against Ji Luji's flying scythe. Tōshirō's eyes widened, and the perfect body's skin was so hard that his own ice might not be able to damage it. Having Tōshirō, the most cheap Bankai Dagoran Hiranmaru in Shinigami, there's nothing wrong with thinking that way. Facing Ichigo's invalid crescent moon, Ji Luji in the video sarcastically said, next time I aim and cut again, even though I aim, it will not help because I have no vital points. Ichigo stepped back instantly. Ji Luji raised the saber of spiritual particles, and the surrounding spiritual particles were immediately sucked in, and even Inoue Ronkar's Shuangtian Guishi shield was gradually disintegrated. As your body, accept the move. I will destroy the power of the God's justice of Master Wan's Eucharist. A large number of spiritual particles gathered above the saber, forming a spiritual light cone with a top overlapping a circle and a short cross. But at this moment, boom, a huge fist thumped, and the psychic light cone was instantly shattered. Chapter 4, Masquerading as a Sky Puppet, Kurotsuchi Mayuri. It's really good for experimenting. Apache, Mira Rhodes, and Sun Sun tore off their respective arms, and the fused mixed beast god Yawing punched this punch, smashing Ji Luji's offensive, and then sent another punch to knock the latter dozens of meters away far. Yao Wang let out a roar, and the surroundings shook instantly, and he rushed towards Ji Luji. A monster like you, how could I be defeated after completing the Eucharist? Before Cherugi finished speaking, Yaen's fist hit him directly in the face, and while blood was spraying, he continued to grab his body, like a green titan throwing Loki, and kept falling heavily on the ground. Soon, Yao Wang stopped, half of Ji Luji's body was thrown into the soil, and his legs stood upside down like saplings, in a panic. The Suya Palace outside the video. This Quincy is really good at pretending. He was slapped in the face, but he is still very resistant. Apache smiled contentedly. Despite Yaen's honest and nondescript image, his strength is enough to compete with the captain level. In the Karakura Town battle, he even killed Rangaku Shuhei and other vice teams in seconds. Fortunately, Yamamoto Genryuzai arrived in time and used Ryujin Jaka's first style of slashing to instantly kill him, otherwise it would be difficult for the deputy team to survive. A mere Quincy, I don't pay much attention to it at all. If I know his ability in advance, I don't need Yaon to play at all. Mira Rhodes echoed. Although I don't know why I and Kurosaki Ichigo, who was originally an enemy, jointly deal with the Quincy, but the enemy of the enemy is a friend. If you kill the guy at number 50 in seconds, we must also be in the leaderboard, and the ranking will definitely be at the top. Sun Sun stroked his long sleeves to his lips, his face beaming with joy. Invisible Empire. Ji Luji looked at himself in a panic in the video, his face darkened. After all, members of the Knights can see how badly Arankar beat him up, what a shame. You're so weak, Cherokee, almost killed by Arankar. Pepe, a member of the Star-Crossed Knights, said sarcastically, holding a staff with one eye and two wings. Ridiculous, I will let them die. Ji Luji held his eye sockets, and a trace of cruelty flashed in his eyes. In the video, Apache thought that Cherokee was dead, and stepped forward to taunt, but was suddenly pierced by a cluster of spirit seeds. Ji Luji stood up again, twisted his neck. He had defended most of Yao Wang's attack just now with the static blood outfit, so it was harmless. Hurry up and die. Holy Cleric. The surrounding spirit particles gathered towards Ji Luji again, and this time even the spirit particles of living things could be absorbed. The irrational Yawing rushed forward and continued to attack. His limbs were instantly disintegrated into spirit particles, and part of his body was fused into Ji Luji's body. The Holy Clerk continued to absorb spirit seeds, and the skins of Inoue and others were damaged to varying degrees. Suddenly a black shadow passed by. Kurosaki Ichigo used Bankai Tensa Zangetsu to smash the disc above Karuji's head, and the absolute subordination of the spirit was terminated immediately. In the next battle, Kurosaki Ichigo has the upper hand in both strength and speed. At this time Urahara Kazuki also came to Hueco Mundo, and under Ichigo's restraint, he pierced Kido's chest with Kido. He told Ichigo to go to the Soul Society quickly, but as soon as he entered the black cavity, the exit was sewn up by the spirit. Pretending to be a puppet, Kuroji isn't dead, it's his job to hold Kurosaki Ichigo down, even if it costs him his life. After dealing with Sato and others, he pierced Urahara Kazuki's body with a spiritual light arrow, raised his hand and fired a beam of light into the black cavity, and Ichigo was instantly trapped by the spiritual cage formed by it. Ahahaha. Kuroji laughed wildly, it's such a pity, Kurosaki Ichigo, you were almost able to protect the Soul Society, but you can't get out of that cage, you lost, and you are in that dark cage, waiting helplessly for Soul Society, the end of the society. The video playback ends here. Seeing this, Seireidi's Shinigami exploded instantly. Waiting helplessly for the demise of the Soul Society, could it be said that the Quincy's are going to attack the Soul Society? That guy Urahara Kazuki got involved too, it's disgusting. Kurotsuchi Mayuri pursed his lips and murmured dissatisfiedly. It seems that he doesn't care about the survival of the Soul Society at all. Is Quincy going to attack Soul Society? It's best to rush in and leave me the strongest one. Kenpachi's eyes lit up, and he didn't like Kuroji at all. Kusajishi Yachiru, who was lying on his shoulders, poked his head and said in a low voice, Ajien, you can't do this. If the Quincy attack the Soul Society, they will definitely have special means. At that time, Seireidi may be in danger. The Quincy tried their best to prevent Kurosaki Ichigo from entering the Soul Society. They definitely had ulterior motives, but I didn't expect that after Kurosaki Ichigo Bankai, in the battle with the Quincy, he was in a complete upper hand and grew so fast. Captain Komamura Sajin of the 7th Division said very much surprise. Ji Luji's chaotic sky puppet, by making the silk thread formed by the spirit, let him resume his actions like a puppet, and then used the holy text ability prison to control Kurosaki Ichigo, which was considered a surprise. But in terms of hard power, Kurosaki Ichigo is definitely dominant. Static blood costume, holy official, chaotic sky puppet costume, and spirit seed cage, there's nothing wrong with this guy being on the list. Kurotsuchi Mayuri became very interested in Ji-Luji, especially the ability of the holy priest, which can absorb the spirit seeds of living things and integrate with himself. Definitely fun to experiment with. The vitality value is 80, which is the highest among all the values, and the attack is less than 80. The captains present are definitely ahead of Kuroji, right, captain. The second team Vice Captain Omeda glanced across the captains, and specially stayed on Sui Feng's body for 2 seconds. What do you need to say? Sui Feng replied angrily. The captain of the fan team has the advantage of Bankai, and it is not difficult to defeat a Quincy of Kuroji's level. The 50th is Quincy, so will the 49th be our captain? Kira asked. Facing Kira's question, Madarame Mikaku snorted coldly, how is it possible, the captains are at least within the top 20. Jingle supported the bamboo hat and shook her head, said lazily, yo, that's not necessarily true, there's a sky beyond the sky, and there are people beyond people. Just when everyone was confused, the name of the 49th place on the combat power list appeared on the big screen. Chapter 5. Another Quincy? Dominating the list? 50th place in the combat power list, Dolusk Bell. Name. Dolusk Belk Force, Invisible Empire Identity, Destroyer. Ability. Holy Word O, Massive Massacre, Attack, 82. Defense. 72 Speed, 77 Intelligence, 75 Vitality, 80. Ryatsu. 75 Combat Power, 130,000. After the 49th place was announced, everyone was shocked. It turned out to be the Quincy Master again? And it's still an Invisible Empire? Seireidi. Hey, it's amazing to be the Quincy of the Invisible Empire for 2 consecutive rankings. Jingle Chunshui shook his head, he seemed less surprised than the others. Invisible Empire, Quincy, there's no Shinigami, we vice captains should work hard. Shu Bing looked sharply at the deputy captains beside the captain. Just now, Ji-Luji has shown them the ability to destroy the division. Strong. If the Quincy really attacked the Soul Society, the vice captains would be completely helpless. Cut, isn't it the Quincy? If you dare to attack the Soul Society, I will let them come and go. Madarame Mikaku's Dangfeng eyes flashed with excitement. He is similar to Zaraki Kenpachi in character, he is a warlike madman, and his strength is also the leader among many vice captains. During the Karakura town battle, the battle with Arankar Shinan Boda, if it wasn't because he didn't want to expose Bankai, he would never have lost to Fang. The video starts playing on the big screen, in front of the Seireidi Division 9 team building. There is a mess around, corpses, bloodline. The originally neat team building has been reduced to the ruins of the war. Hisagi Shuhei is fighting Quincy Dolusk Belhai, but the balance of battle was overwhelmingly tilted in Bell's favor. His punch sent Shu Bing flying, and the latter hit the wall, gradually losing the ability to resist. Ha, exhausted. Bell Shi smiled maniacally, put his hands on his forehead, and looked at Shu Bing full of sarcasm. It's really tiring to deal with the weak. Hey, Vice Captain. Shu Bing, who was trapped in the wall pit, was blood red and extremely painful. He knew that he was no match for Quincy. Are you afraid of my strength? The sacred word His Majesty bestowed on me is overkill. Whether it is an enemy companion or wild beast, the more I cut down, the stronger I will be. Bell straddled the Shinigami's body on the ground and paced towards Shuhei like a ruthless killing machine. At this point in the video, the Shinigami of Seirades suddenly became manic. The ground is full of Shinigami corpses. Are we so weak in the face of Quincy? Is that the vice-captain of Team 9th Division? He was instantly killed? The Quincy is really going to attack the Soul Society, what should we do? The soldiers were suddenly at a loss. Shu Bing looked at himself being beaten so badly in the video, his face was as black as coal. Different from the holy text prison of the previous Quincy division, mass killings seemed to be stronger in simple battles. Shu Bing swallowed nervously. He thought that he was no match for Quincy, but he didn't expect to lose so badly. Hisagi was instantly killed. Yizhao folded his arms and continued, I should deal with such an opponent. According to what Bell said, his mass slaughter will make him stronger and stronger, which is indeed more suitable for encountering an opponent like Yizhao. Shu Bing glanced coldly, but he felt unwilling. He is very afraid of his own power and does not rely much on Zanpakuto's abilities. The self in the video, who has already used Zanpakuto to die with Shikai, has also lost so badly. Since Tusen Kanami's rebellion, he has been the leader of the 9th Division alone. He never thought that his future self would still be so weak. HMPH, massacres are constantly increasing themselves, right? I finally found my opponent. Zaraki Kenpachi was full of fighting spirit and smiled coldly. Lingshu Palace. Aizen looked at the picture on the big screen and remained calm. Now he is wearing a long white dress with black borders and a dark red belt. He has taken off his glasses, combed his hair back, and a strand of hair hangs down his face. He has lost his original gentleness. The Quincy is attacking the Soul Society. It seems that the Soul Society is not the opponent. The majesty that the Quincy is talking about is Yuhabach. Aizen has no contact with the Quincy, but he knows the name of Yuhabach. The ancestor of the Quincy Master, and his strength is amazing. Yuhabach is stronger, or am I stronger? He subconsciously looked down at Hobyoku who had already merged with his body, and thought to himself. In the video, Bell's spirit sun collided with both fists, producing a shattered aura. Just by coming here today, I killed 100 people. The last time I came here was also 100 people, and I even defeated a vice-captain like you.
It's you. Shu Bing's face tightened in an instant, his eyes widened in horror. It turns out that Chojiro Sasaki, the deputy captain of the first team, died at the hands of the person in front of him. Bell's desire became more and more rampant, and the spiritual particles in both fists had gathered into a huge spiritual light spear. His thick right arm clenched the light spear tightly, and he drew back to aim and then threw it out loudly. Swish. The lance was as fast as lightning. Seeing that the light spear was about to pierce Shu Bing's chest, a figure suddenly flashed past. Boom. The light spear still exploded, but deviated from the trajectory. It wasn't that Bell missed the shot, but an old and strong arm, which forcibly missed it. After the dust from the explosion dissipated, Captain Yamamoto Genryuzai stood in front of Shubing. Video outside Seirite. Captain. Seeing this, Shuhei, who was holding a death mentality, let out a long sigh of relief, and shifted his gaze to Yamamoto. If the captain hadn't appeared in time, the corpse of himself in the video would have been completely cold. You guys, to be beaten up so badly by Quincy is really embarrassing to Shinigami. Yamamoto glanced solemnly at the captains. Ahem, the captain is really timely. Seeing that the old man was angry, Jingle Chunshui immediately changed the topic. Bell also killed a vice-captain, who could it be? Omaeda looked around, wondering if it could be him. Sui Fon glanced at him, it's better to be you. Chapter 6, Huang Yan Ling Li Palace, Zanpakuto who controls the weather. The video footage continues. The wind generated by the explosion blew Yamamoto Genryuzai's feathers and beard, and he looked at Bell with piercing eyes. Soon, everything was quiet, like the calm before the storm. Ha ha ha. The arrival of Yamamoto Genryuzai not only did not scare Bell, but made him laugh even more crazily. He rubbed his head and said happily, I'm so lucky, Captain. I'm here to meet you, to use your subordinate's Bankai to kill you here. Seeing the picture in the video, Yamamoto Genryuzai frowned suddenly. Use my subordinate's Bankai. He suddenly understood that the other adjutant that Bell wanted to kill just now was Chojiro Sasaki. What? Vice Captain Sasaki? Unexpectedly. The rest of the people came to their senses, and quickly looked at Chojiro Sasaki who was beside Yamamoto Genryuzai. Chojiro Sasaki was a little uncomfortable being stared at by everyone, and said in a deep voice, I didn't expect that the vice captain was me. Yamamoto Genryuzai stomped his wooden stick, furious. The Quincy is so rampant, Chojiro is also. And what about Bankai? Quincy using Chojiro's Bankai, could it be that the Bankai of Sasaki's vice captain was taken away by the Quincy? Sui Fon said in surprise. Although she hasn't seen what Chojiro Sasaki's Bankai looks like, even few people in Gote 13 know about it. But Chojiro Sasaki followed Yamamoto 2000 years ago, how could he be weak? That's right, it's very likely that the other party has the equipment to absorb Bankai. For Sui Feng's speculation, Kurotsuchi Mayuri agreed very much and became interested in it. In the video, Bell Shi took out the star badge, held it up to Yamamoto, and roared. Bankai. Huang Huang Yan Ling leaves the palace. In an instant, the sky was overcast, and a large number of electrons condensed in the sky, creating a conical circle of light. 11 purple lightning bolts descended from the sky and connected to the ground, forming a cluster of lightning like a lightning cage. Ha ha ha, I miss it very much. I heard that this guy hasn't used Bankai for more than 2,000 years. You can see it again today. You have to thank me. Bell Shi stood under the purple thunder, mocking vigorously. Not knowing the current situation at all, the strongest Shinigami Yamamoto Genryuzai stood opposite him. The faster you mock, the faster you die. The appearance of Huang Huang's Yan Ling from the palace instantly caused a sensation. The weather has changed. This is the first time I've seen Bankai, the vice captain of Sasaki. In addition to Hirinmaru of Captain Hitsugaya, Zanpakuto of Vice Captain Sasaki can also control the weather. The strength of Sasaki's vice captain is actually so strong. Quote. Sasaki vice captains Zanpakuto and my Hirinmaru both control the weather. Tōshirō looked at Chojiro Sasaki in disbelief. And what he controls is thunder and lightning, which is far more terrifying than his own ice. I didn't expect you to meet my Bankai in this way. Sasaki Chojiro shook his head helplessly. Huang Huang Yan Ling Li Gong is his strongest move, and Yamamoto, who is covered in scars, has the most conspicuous scar on his forehead, which was caused by Huang Huang Yan Ling Li Gong. At this moment, Bankai fell into the hands of the enemy, and turned against his own captain again. Thinking about it, Sasaki Chenjuro was very ashamed. The captain will teach that Quincy a good lesson. Jingle Chunshui grinned, his eyes already aware of Yamamoto Genryuzai who was swept away by anger. That kid will die miserably. In the video screen. Facing his subordinate Bankai, Yamamoto Genryuzai stood still and just closed his eyes silently. As if seeing off Chojiro Sasaki. Even so, his aura is enough to shock everyone around him. Only Bell Shi didn't know good from bad, raised his hands up high and shouted angrily before falling down. Boom. A purple thunder fell from the sky, and it fell on Yamamoto Genryuzai quickly. Thunder and lightning were intertwined and infected, instantly forming a column of light that soared into the sky, and Yamamoto was submerged in it. Putting it on ordinary people, it is estimated that they have been tortured by Huang Huang's Yanling Li Palace, but Yamamoto is as stable as Mount Tai, standing quietly in place, letting the thunder and lightning rage on his body. Have you been hit by a subordinate Bankai? Are you powerless to fight back? Speak. Hello. Bell wished for Yamamoto who stood still, sneering. Waving his hands again, 11 lightning bolts struck at the same time. Boom. The purple light was extremely bright, and everything around was destroyed by the ultimate lightning strike. After the blow, the sky returned to normal. Chojiro, you must be very unhappy. Yamamoto's voice came through the smoke, and he paced towards Bell. The lightning strike just now only made his Captain Haori and Shiba's uniforms a bit tattered, but his body was not harmed at all. Carrying such a tyrannical Bankai, he was still unscathed. Bell, whose face was full of spring just now, suddenly panicked, and the corners of his mouth twitched continuously. He is much bigger than Yamamoto, but at this moment in front of Yamamoto, he is as weak as an ant. Yamamoto continued to walk, and said flatly, your anger is full, I understand it very well, Bankai who has been honed all his life. It's definitely not this level. Finally, Yamamoto roared. It is an insult to Sasaki Chojiro to release this level of Huang Wangyan Lingli Palace. At this moment, he vented all the anger in his heart. Pull out the Ryujin Jaka, and with just one wave, flames burst out like a sea of fire, and the surrounding temperature instantly increased. The knife fire was split vertically, and Bell's body was split into two, which had become the fuel for the flames. Bell is also lucky to enjoy the cremation package from Mr. Yamamoto for free. Burn, I can finally honor you with this, Chojiro. Farewell. Yamamoto turned around slowly, the fire wave burning tens of meters behind him. As if telling Chojiro, the fire burning inside you will never go out. Putting Zanpakuto away, Yamamoto calmly walked to Shubing and stopped, and said in a deep voice, don't worry, none of these bandits can escape. I will kill with my own hands. Quote. Chapter 7, The Elderly Passionate Fan, belongs to the captain's rage. Seeking data. The video ended with the captains shocked. Although Yamamoto's killing method is cruel, the result is very relieved. Although Bell Shi, who has a lot of holy text is very strong, but he met the captain, so I can only say that he is unlucky. Omeda clenched his fists and said, the battle just now accelerated the blood flow in his body, it was so hot. It's not easy to see the captain go crazy, let's watch and cherish. Not to mention the vice captain, there are many captains, and I have never seen Yamamoto so angry. Good kill. While Komamura Sajin was shocked, he felt much more at ease. With the captain supporting the scene, the Soul Society will not be destroyed. Vice Captain Sasaki can rest in peace too. Hinamori Momo looked at Sparrow Chojiro with pity. Kira hurriedly interrupted Hinamori, the video is a picture of the future, isn't Vice Captain Sasaki doing well now? Byakuya Kuchiki's face was as calm as usual, but there was some regret in his heart. Whether it is the future or not, this result has already happened. Chojiro Sasaki learned Bankai before Jashiro was born in Jingle, but since Gote 13 was formed, he has never used it in front of people. Byakuya knew in his heart that Chojiro was not a sage for everyone, and some Shinigami insulted him by calling him a vice captain who did not participate in the war, but Sasaki remained unmoved by the position of vice captain. You must know that the captain changes, and Sasaki fully assumes the captain's position with Sasaki's strength, but he once swore that as long as Yamamoto is in office, he will be the vice captain. It is difficult for Yamamoto Genryuzai to be so angry for such a loving and righteous person. The compassion of the captain is beyond the comprehension of our juniors. Kurotsuchi Mayuri stared at the seemingly calm Yamamoto, and continued, Quintient, how they survived and grew stronger, we have no way of knowing, but the captain you, thousands of years ago, didn't kill that man, didn't you? The paper can't contain the fire, and all the signs in the video show that Your Majesty, that the Quincy said is Yuhabach. Yamamoto was silent for a moment. Thousands of years ago, the battle with Yuhabach did not kill him. But he didn't expect that in 1,000 years, the other party would revive and have a stronger power than before. That man. Who is it? Kira, Shubing and other deputy teams looked stunned. No wonder they didn't know. The textbook of Spiritual Arts Academy didn't record any information about Yuhabach. Veteran Shinigami brands such as Jashiro and Jingle are naturally clear. Whoever wants to destroy the Soul Society, first step over my dead body. Yamamoto stomped his wooden staff, and then said to the captain and deputy team members with an extremely ugly face, I can't even deal with this level of enemies, I don't remember teaching you so badly. Notify the Technology Development Bureau, strengthen the strength of the soul cloaking membrane, and you guys, train hard in the next time. It's really nerve-wracking. Jingle shook his head, and could only listen to the old man scolding in dismay. Jashiro also laughed foolishly, scratched the back of his head, and then asked in confusion, why did the captain lose one of his arms in the video? In the video just now, Yamamoto has just appeared on stage, covered by the Captain Haori, and there is no clue. But it became apparent when his suit was knocked down by Bell with Bankai. You must know that Yamamoto Genryuzai is the strongest Shinigami, whether it is Zanpakuto, Kido or White Hits, almost no one can match it. Such a strong and invincible person, how could his arm be broken? It doesn't matter whether the arm is broken or not. If I can protect the Soul Society and Seraiti, even if it means giving up my life, I am willing. Yamamoto narrowed his eyes slightly, his expression was extremely firm, and he could see that this was not a lie. It seems that we have to work harder, and we can't let the captain worry about it all the time. Looking at the heavy atmosphere, Jingle Chunshui glanced over the many captains and vice captains, and said with a smile. Yes, Shu Bing spoke first, after all, he was rescued by Yamamoto in the video, which was somewhat embarrassing. Invisible Empire. After Yuhabach saw that Bell was instantly killed by Yamamoto, his expression became a little subtle. More than 1,000 years have passed, and you are still so unreasonable. He was defeated at the beginning because Yamamoto had Bankai. Now they are researching and absorbing Bankai's astrology, and it seems that they will be successful in the near future. So what can you do without Bankai? Yamamoto Genryuzai. The corners of Yuhabach's mouth rose slightly. Present world. Kurosaki Ichigo was dumbfounded, he knew that Yamamoto Genryuzai was strong. But I didn't expect it to be so strong. Blocking the light spear with bare hands, resisting Huang Yanling's departure from the palace, and being cremated with one knife. However, this is not the true strength of Yamamoto, his Bankai remnant sword is pervert. It's strange, Shinigami is obviously a hot-blooded fan, but now it has become an old-fashioned hot-blooded fan. Bell's combat strength is as high as 130,000, and his ability to massacre is also very strong. If the next one is still a Quincy, what kind of ability will he have? Ishida Uryu, who is also a Quincy, is curious. Bell wants to be so strong without using the holy body. By the way, Yulong, you took off the loose spirit gloves in Seraiti and gained great power. Isn't it similar to finishing the holy body? Orihime looked at you eagerly dragon. Kurosaki Ichigo followed Orihime's gaze, and the corner of his mouth twitched. HMPH, if this guy becomes like Kuruji, he can die. Uryu frowned slightly, and didn't want to talk to Ichigo. At the beginning, he lost the ability of the Quincy for a while, and by taking off the loose spirit gloves, he gained the ultimate power of the Quincy to defeat Kurotsuchi Mayuri, which is indeed similar to the mechanism of the holy body. But he believed that he would never become as nondescript as Cherokee. Chapter 8. The Lingwang Palace fell, and the Zero team couldn't sit still, seeking data. At this time, the next name has already appeared on the big screen. 48th place in the battle list, Pepe Wakabrata. Name: Pepe Wakabrata. Force: Invisible Empire. Identity: Destroyer. Ability: Holy Text L. Love. Attack: 79. Defense: 78. Speed: 78. Intelligence: 85. Vitality: 81. Reiatsu: 73. Combat power: 180,000. Sure enough, it's Quincy again. A look of indifference flashed in Tōshiro's eyes, as if he already had an answer to this result. 3 consecutive quenches were on the list, which was unexpected. But when everyone saw the battle scene of the Quincy division, they didn't think there was a problem with this ranking. On the contrary, it was very reasonable. The combat power of 180,000 seems a bit interesting. Zaraki Kenpachi looked happy. He became interested in the massacre just now, but the boy was slaughtered by Yamamoto. The holy word love, can this also be a kind of ability? Surprise flashed across Rangaku's moving eyes, and his IQ was as high as 85, the highest among the 3 Quincy's that have appeared so far. But from a numerical point of view, Peep's ability is not much different from the first 2 Quincy divisions, but his intelligence is high, and his tactical preparation in combat may be a bit more advanced. What the hell is love? Just pick up the knife and chop it and it's over. Zaraki Kenpachi was full of disdain. In his eyes, the inexplicable ability was nothing but gimmicky. The Invisible Empire, the Ice Palace. Am I only ranked 48th? This ranking is fake. War is sad and beautiful because of love. I should at least be in the top 20. Pepe, who was riding on the tray, looked at the big screen with an unconvinced face. Fat pig, why do you have any complaints when you were ranked 48th? According to me, you don't deserve to be on the list at all. Litodo Lampardo's sarcastic sarcasm. Ha ha ha, what Lily said is true, I don't think you deserve to be on the list. Bambietta Basta added fuel to the fire by marrying her. Manina Makaran, the cute girl with pink hair and a giant wave, also nodded. She, Bumby, Lilito, and Goddess are all members of the female knights, so they naturally stand on one side, and she especially hates Pepe. Damn it, it's a disgrace that I'm actually behind that guy Pepe. Belshi clutched his head, feeling a little ashamed. Pepe is not popular in the Knights of the Star Cross, even hated. Being instantly killed by Shinigami, you are behind me, do you have any objections? Pepe ignored the sarcasm of the female knights, and turned to look at Belshi. TCH, you'll be instantly killed if you go. Belshi was powerless to refute, and could only drag him into the water. The video has already started playing on the big screen. The Spirit King's palace, upon which the palace Yuhabach had built, had been destroyed by the war and lay in ruins. There are many Quincy's lying on the ground. Litodo, a member of the Star Cross Knights, was covered in scars, looked at the defeated Quincy wiped bloodline from the corner of his mouth, and said, "No one is decent, it's really embarrassing. However, in order to preserve our strength, it is most appropriate for us to stay." Big Bear Loli Manina said, looking solemnly ahead. Because standing in front of him is a Shinigami in white clothes and a white belt around his head. Byakuya Kuchiki. Speaking of which, where did that guy Pepe go? If he had his ability, this battle would be a little more interesting. That person is disgusting, it doesn't matter if he is there or not. Lilito and Manina analyze the situation. The other side. Captain Kuchiki, I'll also get rid of one person. Shunpo approached Byakuya Kuchiki with Wind Death in his hand. But suddenly, Byakuya swung Senbon Sakura and slashed at Shuhei. At this point in the video, the Shinigami were stunned. Because the buildings on the battlefield are not owned by the Soul Society, that means the battlefield has shifted. Are those people also the Quincy division of the Invisible Empire? The battlefield seems to have changed, and why did Captain Kuchiki attack shoving? Tōshirō frowned, and looked sideways at Byakuya Kuchiki. The Kuchiki family is one of the 4 nobles, and Byakuya Kuchiki doesn't seem like a traitorous character. Naturally, Byakuya doesn't know the reason, and even his own dress in the picture is a bit strange. Spirit King's Palace. Did those guys attack the Spirit King's Palace? The calm on Yamamoto's face couldn't be maintained anymore, he looked up unconsciously. Although Yuhabach built a palace in the Palace of the Soul King, it is not difficult to see that it is the Palace of the Soul King. Moreover, Ling Wangdane, who was suspended in midair, was still in the sky at this moment. They have basically investigated the reasons for Aizen's defection to the Soul Society, and spent a lot of time creating the King Key to enter the Soul King Palace. But why did the Quincy Masters attack the Lingwang Palace so easily? Could it be that the Soul Society has fallen? Spirit King Palace. The vice captains and some captains were taken aback immediately, regardless of why Byakuya attacked shoving. You must know that the Lingwang Palace is the place where the Lingwang lives, and the entry conditions are harsh. They have never seen what the Lingwang Palace looks like, and the Lingwang Palace in the picture has turned into ruins. Quincy Masters, are they that strong? In other words, is Yuhabach that strong? Lingwang Palace, Qilin Hall. Tianshilang of Qilin Temple spat out the straw he was holding in his mouth, and his expression became serious. Baga, the captain of Gote 13 is so weak, the enemy has reached the palace of the Soul King, it is unforgivable. In Phoenix Palace, Wang Yu of Ermewu also looked solemnly. Looking at the countless materialized women Zanpakuto behind him, he felt a lot more relaxed. The monk remained calm, but laughed, haha, interesting. No matter who dares to take the Ling King's idea, let's pass his test first. Chapter 9, Shubing is second again, and Senbon Sakura is going to rebel. Seeking data. In the video screen, Shubing's dark eyes flashed with a flash of Senbon Sakura's knife, and he was stunned for a moment, very confused. Hey, Captain Kuchiki, what's wrong with you? Byakuya Kuchiki was very calm, and said lightly, I should say this sentence. Why did you raise your knife and slash at me? Are you being manipulated by the enemy? Or, are you a counterfeit disguised by the enemy? The moment Shuhei approached him, Byakuya sensed Reiatsu's unkindness. Feng Shi in his hand was tightly held in his hand, secretly forming an offensive. If you don't swing a knife to block, I'm afraid people's heads will fall to the ground. How could it be? I am the real me. Shu Bing yelled at Byakuya in panic, I am not controlled by the enemy. I am just pure, for Lord Pepe. Shu Bing put away the camouflage on his face, and immediately took out Kazeshi to attack Byakuya again. On the other side, in the most inconspicuous part of the battlefield, there was a burst of frustrated and sinister laughter. Heh, 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 heh. Pepe opened her fat arms like meat joints, circled in front of her, made a heart shape with her thumbs and index fingers, and introduced herself. One heart, one body, but just look into my eyes, your heart will be split into two, and the split heart and body will become one, and I will be me. The chains of being loved, hang them up. Love kiss. With that said, Pepe shifted her palms, and a beam of heart-shaped spiritual particles shot at Menina instantly. Master Pepe. Menina's face flushed instantly, and she looked at Pepe like an idiot, with red hearts shining in her pupils. This is Peep's ability. Once hit by Kiss of Love, it will be controlled by it. Even Zanpakuto can control it. Just now Shubing was Byakuya who was hit by this move. Shubing outside the video looked at the fat pig like Quincy in the screen, and the corners of his mouth kept twitching. Good guy. I just saw myself being wronged and thought I was fine, but it turned out that it was a play after being controlled by Pepe. Being hit by a fat pig's love kiss is disgusting. And in the video, every time the vice captain gets beaten up as himself, don't lose face. I just said that Captain Kuchiki would not attack his companions for no reason. It turned out that Hisagi was controlled by love, and he was a fat pig. Ha ha ha. Madarame Makaku couldn't help laughing. Captain Kuchiki's perception is so strong, I almost made a big mistake. Shubing lowered his head, a little guilty. The Quincy's methods are so strange that even his own companions use them. It's not your fault. Byakuya Kuchiki naturally didn't care. The Invisible Empire, the Ice Palace. Menina clenched her fists, the veins on her arms were bulging, and her eyes were burning with flames. She had a gentle personality, but seeing how obsessed she was with Peep's fat pig in the video, she couldn't calm down. Fat pig, you actually used your ability on me, are you courting death? Her holy word is P, strength, and if she engages in melee combat, she can knock Pepe half to death with a single punch. Damn it, it's disgusting enough to make Mimi look like this. Bambi and the other members of the female knights set off to surround Pepe, ready to strike at any time. You must know that insidious people like Pepe love to take credit, and even Menina took advantage of it this time. Okay, do you want His Majesty to punish you? Hugel Hasward spoke softly, and the rest of the people fell silent instantly. Hasward's status in the Invisible Empire is only lower than that of Yuhabach, and it is not an exaggeration to describe it as one person below 10,000 people. It was even rumored that he was the successor of Yuhabach, so his words naturally carry weight. TCH, it is that fat pig who should be punished by His Majesty. Bambi snorted coldly and returned to his place. In the video screen at this time. Lee Toto wanted to wake up Menina but didn't think about it, but what she got was a head-on punch with Kilin's arm. Although you like me, you can't argue with each other for me. Pepe shouted shamelessly. Stop fighting. He is very insidious, if the rest of the people are dead, all the credit will belong to him alone. Shuhei and Byakuya are still fighting. But Byakuya is he at all? It was Byakuya Kuchiki who soaked in the bone hell and blood pond hell of Kilin Temple and improved his ability. His strength completely crushed Shubing. Pepe only needs to drag Byakuya, he said with emotion. You think that wars are caused by differences in the justice of your body and mind? No, the reason for wars is because of love. Love for wife, love for children, love for parents, friends, monarch, love for God. Where there is no love there is no war, and that is why war is sad and beautiful. Pepe is like a speaker. Is your speech over? My side is over. Byakuya had already beaten Shubing to the ground, and glanced coldly at Pepe. He had already guessed that if the caster was beheaded, even if the puppet's string was cut, it would naturally lose control. Oh, as expected of Byakuya Kuchiki, I was seen through by you. Pepe made an okay gesture and looked through the circle with eyes wearing sunglasses, as if she didn't care at all. It's terrible, it's terrible. He made a quick heart gesture. The heart-shaped beam shot out rapidly, and Byakuya turned sideways slightly, dexterously dodging. Seeing this, Pepe fired another light wave. The unavoidable Byakuya had no choice but to block with Senbon Sakura. Although he was embarrassed just now, he also understood one thing, that is, the so-called love cannot control things without a heart. Yes, since you are so thorough, why do you still use Zanpakuto? Pepe smiled sinisterly. Chapter 10, Ultimate Love, Zombie Kensai and Zombie Rojiro. Seeking data. This insidious Quincy is Zanpakuto who wants to control Captain Kuchiki. Shu Bing outside the video was shocked immediately, and he didn't care about the embarrassment of being controlled and then instantly killed. Know that Zanpakuto also has a heart of his own, and Peep's love kiss can control everything that has a heart. But in that case, Byakuya Kuchiki has no way to get out of the way, and can only block with the chopping knife. This ability is pervert. If Zanpakuto is lost, Kankito and White Hits defeat Quincy. Komamura Sajin has already expected the result. It is very difficult to rely on these two attacks alone. Kira. This is the holy text L, the ability to love. No wonder Peep's intelligence value is so high, she turns out to be a sinister villain. Bullshit love, isn't it the ability to make people act according to their own will? Such a sinister method is so noble. Tetsuziman Takumi took up Kira's words. If Aizen is evil, then their Quincy is extremely evil. What qualifications do they have to talk about love? In the video screen, Pepe watched Byakuya Kuchiki sinisterly and controlled Senbon Sakura to stab him. Kai. Byakuya's shoulders were cut open in an instant. Seeing that the situation was not good, Byakuya immediately threw Senbon Sakura in his hand. Do you know why I didn't take your Bankai during your battle? I know, Zanpakuto has a heart. Peep's face darkened, and then she smiled. Because of love, I can take it from a Zanpakuto who has a heart at any time. Walk. So what if I put down the knife? Have I given you a chance? My beloved weapon. With a swipe, Senbon Sakura flew into Shubing's hand. Byakuya frowned. Shuhei's body should not be able to move. Pepe explained that the power of love is great. No matter how many attacks he suffers, as long as he is for love, he will overcome all the difficulties in front of him. Shuhei suddenly strikes with Senbon Sakura in his hand. Although he can't free Senbon Sakura, he can use ordinary swordsmanship without any pressure. Byakuya is in a passive situation, and using White Hits is not very effective, but with Kido, Shuhei will be killed by himself. For a moment, he was in a tangle. Byakuya in reality is also very tangled. Anyway, Shubing is Seraite's vice captain, and Shubing is 90% hiccuped when his own Kido is unleashed. If my arm is controlled, I can chop it off, but I haven't considered carefully. Byakuya thought. Just as he was lost in thought, Pepe in the video had already circled behind Byakuya Kuchiki. Love. Kiss. He made another heart gesture. Byakuya sensed something was wrong and was about to dodge, but Shubing had already attacked from the front. The kiss of love hits Byakuya's shoulder successfully. It's over. Captain Kuchiki hesitated, Hisagi's attack restrained him, and Peep's attack hit the captain. Damn it, I can't help you at all, Hisagi. Renji in this world saw Byakuya Kuchiki's predicament, clenched his fists, and secretly scolded Shubing for not living up to expectations. If he is there, Zabumaru, the baboon king after Bankai, can definitely help. That guy is afraid of hurting Hisagi, otherwise Hisagi, who is full of flaws, will be killed instantly. Kurosaki Ichigo thought to himself, Byakuya Kuchiki is not that bad, at least for his companions. Be careful what you say, what do you mean by, that guy, that's Captain Kuchiki. Renji's face darkened, and he put his mouth in front of Ichigo's face and shouted. Kurosaki Ichigo did his part. Just pay attention to what you say. The Invisible Empire, the Ice Palace. So what about Byakuya Kuchiki? It's still under my ability. Pepe saw Byakuya Kuchiki being hit by the kiss of love, and immediately smiled triumphantly. You guys were beaten badly by him, right? He specifically glanced at the 5 female knights. What's the big deal? If you had absorbed his Bankai earlier, it wouldn't be so much trouble. I think you want to take credit for yourself. Goddess didn't give him a good face. Just when everyone had been controlled by Pepe, Byakuya Kuchiki was defeated. The picture in the video is beyond everyone's expectations. I saw that Byakuya was not controlled after receiving the kiss of love. Pepe gritted her teeth, shocked. Why can that guy still maintain himself after being kissed by me? Don't you have love in your heart? Your mission is to die for me. If you don't accept my love, I won't allow it. Pepe roared angrily, and at the same time folded her hands together, drawing out a big heart with the spirit sun when she unfolded it. After the Holy Eucharist, the love of God. Swish. Dazzling white light erupted from Peep's body, and after a short time, he entered the Eucharist state. On the top of the head appeared a spiritual beam similar to Kuruji but with a 5-pointed star, the corners of the beard were raised, and wings with eyes grew out of the back. The original clothes of the Knights of the Star Cross, only facie and shoes remained. A fat mass, disgusting. Rope of love. Pepe pulled out a rope with hearts on it and threw it at Byakuya Kuchiki. Before Byakuya escaped, Shubing appeared again and attacked back and forth, but at the critical moment, Pepe stopped Shubing. I can't let the best of Byakuya die in the hands of others. Ooh. Pepe Ang opened his mouth, and a spiritual light arrow, like Cupid's arrow, shot out from his mouth. Accept it, this is my ultimate love. Seeing that the arrow was about to leave the string, Pepe felt a heavy force squeezing her face, and then her right face was squeezed and deformed by a big foot, and her body was also kicked tens of meters away. And it was Muguruma Kensai, the captain of the 9th Division, and Odoribashi Rojiro, the captain of the 3rd Division, who kicked this blow. Surprisingly, these two people turned out to be in zombie form. Chapter 11, Twists and Turns, Soul Society Changes. Seeking data. The two of them were wearing death costumes and Captain Howry, their eyes were empty and lifeless, and the black lines like Batman's mask spread from their foreheads to the corners of their mouths, like puppets without vitality. The video playback ends here. Reality. Visored. What the hell? Why did Kensai and Rojiro suddenly appear, and why are you two wearing Shinigami clothes? Surugaki Hiyori frowned, looking at Kensai and Rojiro with a somewhat uneasy expression. She was originally the vice captain of the 12th Division and also served as the director of the research office of the Technology Development Bureau. She was later framed by Aizen and became the subject of Hollow's experiment. Weaving. Feel very angry. Kensai and Rojiro were also puzzled. Obviously the self in the picture is the captain of Gote 13. Impossible, how could Kensai and I wear the Howry of the Bante? Lu Shilang's pupils tightened. Could it be that for some reason in the future, we will return to Soul Society? Hiyori was immediately annoyed, and the corner of his mouth twitched. I want to go back to you, the place where you once had good memories. ... Invisible Empire. Nani, Giselle, what are you doing? Why are you attacking me? Pepe glared at Giselle fiercely, and continued. If it wasn't for you, Byakuya Kuchiki would have died. Giselle's holy text ability is Z-dead. When she is injured by the enemy and causes bleeding, or oozes blood by hurting herself, any object contaminated with her blood will become a zombie and be affected by her control. And Kensai and Rojiro in the picture are zombies. That's why Pepe said that. Fat pig, you are allowed to use your ability to control Mimi, but you are not allowed to use your ability to attack you, right? Giselle folded her arms in front of her chest and gloated. However, this is really a perfect kick. Seraiti, captain of the 6th car. When Shu Bing saw Muguruma Kensai, a look of shock flashed in his eyes. They are also old acquaintances. The young Shubing suffered a false attack and was rescued by Muguruma Kensai, and the tattoo, 69, on his left face means the 6 cars and 9 divisions. Although he hadn't joined the 9th division when Kensai was the captain, he also knew what happened to Kensai, and was even sentenced to a felony by the 46th chamber. Now seeing Kensai wearing Captain Howry again, Shuhei is really happy for it from the bottom of his heart. It seems to have become a puppet, which is interesting. Kurotsuchi Mayuri's expression became subtle. Shinigami turned into a puppet. This may be a wonderful study. Fortunately, the captain of the 6th car showed up in time, otherwise the captain of Kuchiki would be because of me. Shu Bing lowered his head, feeling very guilty. If Pepe shoots with the ultimate shot, the consequences will be disastrous. Zaraki Kenpachi was a little disdainful. Byakuya Kuchiki won't die from the opponent's weak blow, right? What a headache. Can't we have a good fight, and have to play these little tricks? Byakuya glanced at him and didn't speak, but was thinking, why wasn't he controlled after receiving Peep's love kiss? Is willpower stronger? If this is the case, then even the sacred word L that can control people's hearts will never be able to achieve 100% control. I thought Ji Luji's perfect body was already ugly enough, but I didn't expect Peep's perfect body to be the king of ugliness. Fortunately, the video ended quickly, otherwise I would spit it out. Sui Fon sipped. He swallowed a mouthful of spit. What the captain said is that if you increase the nausea value, that guy will definitely get full marks. Omeda said with a smile. Swish. A dazzling golden light suddenly flashed in the sky, followed by the names of Cherokee, Bell and Pepe, engraved on the gold list like strokes of ink. Then, the gold list slowly unfolded, revealing the 47th rank. 47th place in the battle list. Nyansuo Wasuo. Name. Niangso Wasuo. Force. Invisible Empire. Identity. Destroyer. Ability. Sacred Text W. Twisting. Attack. 78. Defense. 90. Speed. 79. Intelligence. 70. Vitality. 77. Reiatsu. 79. Combat power. 250,000. The appearance of the 46th name immediately caused an uproar. Why is it still Quincy? None of us Shinigami are on the list. The mighty Captain Kuchiki was almost killed by Quincy. How can he be on the list? Holy text. It is reasonable to say that there are 26, so it is impossible for them to occupy the 26th place on the list. The team members of Seraiti are almost desperate. Is it true that the captain of Yamamoto Genryuzai can only support the scene? It seems that everyone has already guessed it. Byakuya Kuchiki looked at the unchanged faces of the crowd and said with a smile. The appearance of 3 Quincy divisions in a row may be really unexpected. But the 4th, 5th, or even 6th, the sensory impact will be reduced a lot. Now there is another W with twists and turns. It won't really be on the list of 26 Quincy Masters. Madarame Makaku didn't want to believe it, but he had to think about it. Off DHH Henses, Jingle Chunshui shook his head, looked at Jashiro aside. Captain Jashiro, it seems that we really should train hard. Jashiro immediately understood what Jingle meant, and quickly echoed. Captain, let's go to training first. The 4th Quincy was on the list, and the two of them clearly noticed that Yamamoto Motoryusai's face became ugly. They don't want to stay in the conference room and be scolded. Based on the information about the Invisible Empire in the currently broadcast video, the Technology Development Bureau will study the equipment to crack the opponent's star chapter as soon as possible. Although Yamamoto believes that Jingle Shunsui and Jashiro and Unohana Retsu's veteran captain will definitely be on the list, but if the war really breaks out, the Quincy who can absorb Benkai will slaughter the Soul Society like in the video. Then he stomped his stick and said in a deep voice, "The meeting is over. Captain, there is too little information, but our Technology Development Bureau will do our best to leave Yinmeng." After Kurotsuchi Mayuri finished speaking, he turned his head and left. The rest of the captains and vice-captains also walked out of the conference room and looked up unconsciously. Because they know that this Soul Society is about to change. Chapter 12, Team Zero fought fiercely, Yulong betrayed. Seeking data. While everyone was staring at the sky, a picture appeared on the big screen again. Boom. A violent explosion sounded from the Omotsandao of the Lingwang Palace, and the stone pillars next to it were shattered one after another. Yuhabach led Ishida Uryu and Hasward to look up at the Spirit King Ouchi suspended in midair. "So that's it, is this the Spirit King's palace?" Yuhabach said indifferently. Yulong was taken aback immediately, and didn't understand what Yuhabach meant, but Hasward, who was standing beside him, bowed his head and respectfully said, "I can understand your mood, your majesty." "What did you experience, Heartsword?" Yuhabach turned his head slightly and looked at Heartsward. "Even if I look at the decayed tombstone, I don't have a trace of emotion." Seeing this, Hasward fell silent, obviously flattering the horse's hoof, and hurriedly said, "I was rude." Yuhabach didn't care, and ordered him to act immediately. Raising his arm slowly, the black spiritual space was instantly constructed in the palm of Hasward's palm, and the spiritual particle transformed into a liquid-like black shadow. Swish. The pitch-black shadow hexagram was already suspended behind Hasward. This is the spiritual subspace connected to another space, and life or objects in another space can invade the current space through the black hexagram. Seeing this scene, the living Kurosaki Ichigo suddenly changed his expression. It's not because of Yuhabach, nor because of the strange move of Cage Hexagram, but Ishida Uryu. "Yulong, why did you join forces with the Quincy?" Kurosaki Ichigo grabbed Ishida Uryu's collar, his eyes stared fiercely like a beast. He also saw the picture of the Quincy invading the Soul Society. "This is a group of vicious guys. Why would Ishida Uryu accompany them?" "How could I know?" Uryu snapped free of Ichigo and straightened his wrinkled collar. "It seems that the leader is Yuhabach. Following behind Yuhabach, you have joined the Invisible Empire." Renji also stared at Yulong fiercely. How many Shinigami died at the hands of the Quincy? Bell Exedu killed more than 200, not to mention other members of the Knights. Maybe Ishida Uryu is one of them. Hurry up and find a reasonable reason, or I will kill you right now. Renji took out the Zanpakuto Zabumaru and laid it across in front of him. He was furious at the atrocities of the Quincy. One of these unforgivable guys was actually by his side. Although the two are not friends, he is a classmate of his beloved friend Kurosaki Ichigo, but if Ishida Uryu will really help the Invisible Empire destroy the Soul Society in the future, then it is reasonable to kill him now. "You don't need to tell me. If Uryu really betrays, I will kill him myself," Kurosaki Ichigo said seriously, frowning. "I believe Ishida-san will not do that, there must be some difficulties." Orihime immediately stopped in front of Ichigo, for fear that the two would fight. Ishida Uryu glanced at Renji and Ichigo disdainfully. "I don't need to give an explanation. He and Yuhabach have different ideas. Just like what Cherokee said, he is obsessed with relics such as the Orthodox Quincy's ability and technology, and only Ishida Munazuru and his like refuse to accept the results of their research. However, Uryu inherited the will of his grandfather Ishida Zongxian, and inherited the mission and glory of the Quincy. The self in the video must not really be a traitor. In the video screen, a large number of holy soldiers emerged from Hasward's shadow hexagram. Wearing white cloaks and white military caps, the army of the Quincy division began to attack immediately after landing. But suddenly, a black shadow appeared in front of him. Boom! A bare foot stepped on the floor, and the wooden handle that looked like an oar swept across. The holy soldiers were instantly swept away. Tōshirō of Qilin Temple with a 20 cm airplane head on his head, Jinpaika on his shoulder, and a straw in his mouth, said disdainfully, "You don't know what this place is, do you? This is the leader of the world, and guests are not allowed to visit." Tianshilang's eyes suddenly became sharp, and he glared at Yuhabach angrily. Yuhabach recognized him at a glance, the first official of Team Zero, Eastern God General Qilin as Tian Shilang. "Do you think you can stop me with your strength? If you don't think so, Tian Shuru won't show up." Swinging Jinpijia, the Lingwang Palace instantly set off huge waves, and the holy soldiers who were just blown away, together with Yuhabach, were scattered in an instant. This is not ordinary water, but Tenshiru's special hot water squeezed from blood and Reiatsu. "Just say it's hot. This temperature is just the beginning. Let's shine, Jinpaika." Tenshiro releases Zanpakuto, and the original wood pulp instantly becomes a sharp long-handled machete. Saraiti, the fourth team. Unohana Retsu looked at Tenshiro who was blocking Yuhabach, with a gloomy look in his eyes. When she was not the captain of the 4th Division, Tōshirō had taught him Kaido and medical skills, and he was regarded as his half-master. But even so, Tōshirō is not Yuhabach's opponent. Captain, is that the captain of Team Zero? You look amazing. Kotetsu Aizen stared at the big screen with bright eyes. Hana Retsu nodded slightly. To become the Zero team, naturally has a strong ability. She could also tell that it was Hathward next to Yuhabach, whose strength might surpass Tianqilang. Lingwang Palace. Tian Shilang watched him release the Zanpo Dao, and smiled arrogantly, come and kill as many as you want. In the video, Tian Shilang is in a very bad situation. He cast Amaterasu Jinpaika, slashing consecutively without even hurting Yuhabach. Why didn't you hit even a knife? Tian Shilang's expression was solemn, and cold sweat dripped down his cheeks. Let's be helpless, let's go. Yuhabach said lightly. Naturally, Tian Shilang was unwilling, and rushed towards Yuhabach again with a roar. Jinpijia cut down vertically. But something weird happened, and the space in front of Yuhabach seemed to be distorted. Even the cracks in the floor turned into arcs. Chapter 13, Yamamoto died in battle in the future. Silence for Seraiti. Holy text W, twists and turns. Is that what it meant? Although Tenshiro's hot spring hurt the miscellaneous soldiers of the Quincy division, Yuhabach, Ishida Uryu and others were not hurt. Kurotsuchi Mayuri put his right hand on his chin, a little surprised. Captain, Zanpakuto, the captain of Team Zero, can definitely attack Zong Yuhabach according to the normal trajectory, but the final result is distorted. This may be Nyanso Wasuo, the holy text W, the ability to twist and turn. Akon looked at Kurotsuchi Mayuri in surprise, and analyzed. Kurotsuchi Mayuri nodded in agreement, but Nyanso Wasuo was not seen in the picture. Could it be hidden in the dark? No wonder the defense power is amazing, the value is as high as 90. Normal attacks don't work at all. There is also Ishida Uryu, who was originally a Quincy Master, and it is not difficult to understand why he joined Yuhabach's command. Kurotsuchi Mayuri grinned, and implanted surveillance bacteria in his body when he fought Uryu. If Ishida Uryu really joins the Invisible Empire, maybe he can get a lot of information when he falls. Then cracking the ability of the Quincy to absorb Bankai, wouldn't it be much easier? In the video screen, Tian Shilang, who failed to attack, stared like copper bells. He couldn't believe that Yuhabach didn't dodge, and he didn't block his sight. But why can't it be cut? But at this moment, a sharp female voice came over. Long time no see, Yuhabach. With side-parted bangs and complicated golden hair accessories, a woman with a graceful figure appeared in front with a group of magic soldiers and stopped Yuhabach again. Shutara Senjumaru, known as the Big Weaving Guard, she created the deadly domineering outfit. Seeing that Tian Shilang is not inferior to his opponent, he comes to support. Come to Lingwang Palace without an invitation, no matter how you look at it, I think you who killed Yuan Lujai are already insane. Senjumaru said coldly. As soon as these words came out, Seraiti's Shinigami exploded instantly. What do you mean? The captain was killed by Yuhabach. What Team Zero said must be true. Could it be that something unexpected happened to the future captain? Even the chief. We want to avenge the chief. The team members were a little flustered, and originally wanted to ask Captain Yamamoto to support the scene. In the end, the strongest man was killed by Yuhabach. 8th team. Jingle Chunshui lowered the bamboo hat, and a look of sadness flashed in the covered dark eyes. Have all the old men been killed by Yuhabach? As Genryuzai's favorite student, although he is usually lazy, he has the deepest affection for Yamamoto. How is it possible? The captain. Aizen Nanao rarely saw Jingle Shunsui so depressed, and said in a low voice, Yuhabach must have taken away the captain's Bankai before he was defeated. Quote. Xiao Nanao said that the captain is not so easy to defeat. Jingle dispelled the haze from his face, lay down, and covered his face with a bamboo hat. The other team captains also looked lonely and mourned silently in their hearts. Huh, has the captain been killed? Zaraki Kenpachi's pupils shrank suddenly, looking incredible. If Yamamoto Genryuzai was killed by Yuhabach, wouldn't he be Yuhabach's opponent? Finally found an interesting opponent. Zaraki Kenpachi snorted coldly. Damn it, no one can stop Yuhabach. Madarame Makaku gritted his teeth, his eyes were stern. Gongqin next to him glanced at Zhao. Yi Zhao, although the chief captain has fallen, there is still our captain hasn't learned Bankai, not even Shikai. If the captain learns Bankai, he will definitely be able to stop it. Yuhabach. You must know that you don't know Bankai. Only relying on Reiatsu's Zaraki Kenpachi, the combat power can be ranked in the forefront of the captain. Once you learn Bankai, your strength will increase dramatically. Yes. One corner nodded in agreement. When the captain learns Bankai, that's the day Yuhabach died in battle. Zaraki Kenpachi twitched his mouth and snorted coldly. I don't need Bankai at all. Kenpachi's current Zanpakuto Nozarashi was still picked up from the battlefield. Because Kenpachi Reiatsu is too strong, Nozarashi has been in a semi-Shikai state. Due to the long-term ceiling of his own power, Nozarashi has always refused to tell Kenpachi his name. So Kenpachi thinks that Zanpakuto is just a tool, and Bankai is even more dispensable. Lying on Kenpachi's shoulder, Yachinliu pointed his head and said. The bald head and Xiaogong are right, Xiao Jian, you don't know Bankai now, it doesn't mean you won't do it in the future. The captain will die in battle in the future, if you learn Bankai, and you'll enjoy fighting even more. Hearing this, Kenpachi smiled coldly. A team house. Yamamoto Genryuzai looked at the sky with a look of uneasiness on his face. I didn't panic because I would die in the future in the picture, but worried about the future of Soul Society. The video footage continues. Facing Senjumaru's provocation, Yuhabach didn't say a word, but stepped up the steps firmly. In just a moment, he came behind Senjumaru. It's so arrogant, you can't reach mine, destroy him. Senjumaru commanded a group of divine soldiers. The magic soldiers set off in an instant and stabbed at Yuhabach. Yuhabach smiled contemptuously. Become the rust of the Soul King's sword. However, at the next moment, the divine soldiers used Zanpakuto to connect end to end, enclosing Yuhabach in a circle. What's the situation? Seeing this, Senjumaru's pupils trembled. Where is this trouble coming from? Yuhabach didn't dodge, but the Zanpakuto of the magic soldier couldn't touch him. It even seemed to avoid it deliberately. At this moment, a strange and slightly inarticulate voice came out. You can't reach me, is that what you said just now? Now it seems that you can't reach us. Chapter 14, Number 46, Leopard King debuts. Seeking data. As the voice fell, a figure slowly appeared in Yuhabach's shadow. Soon, a young man with long messy black hair, bare feet, and tongue out appeared in front of Yuhabach. He is a member of the Star-Crossed Knights, Nyanso Wasuo. He didn't show his face, but kept hiding in Yuhabach's shadow. Just now, the attacks of Tianqilang and Shenbing all used his holy writing ability to evade in a twist and turn. It's just that after he appeared, his eyes were dull, his expression was contemptuous and demented, and he didn't look very smart. Seraiti outside the video. No wonder the value of intelligence is only 70, which is the lowest among the Quincy, I understand. Tōshirō looked at Nansu in the picture and sighed. It has two tongues, it looks so weird. Rangaku looked a little ugly, Pepe who appeared before was so ugly as Ultimate, and now there is another extremely weird person. Quincy Masters, it's too pervert. The appearance is a bit weird, but the ability is a little unclear. I still don't know why he can evade the attack, but the captain of the Zero team can't do anything about him. I'm afraid it will be even more difficult for our captain. Tōshirō frowned. Don't look at the Niutouxu in the picture who is not very smart, but his ability is outstanding. The warriors turned to Niutouxu, but when Zanpakuto stabbed at the latter, the blade bent inexplicably. It's useless to say that my holy text is W, and the enemies I see will bend softly and avoid my body. Wasuo explained. That's why Tianqilang's hot water is useless, and the weapons of the magic weapon are only going around in circles. Hearing this, Tōshirō felt a bit of comfort in his heart, and at the same time Senjumaru's eyes tightened. I see, but you talk too much, brat. Tell the enemy about your abilities, isn't this a brain hole? Senjumaru has already figured out a countermeasure. If it is an enemy that Wasuo can't see, wouldn't the weapon not bend? Swish. A few black shadows flashed, and the magic soldier stabbed Wasuo from behind. But he never thought that even though Wasuo had no vision behind him, Zanpakuto would turn around the moment he was about to attack him. The Invisible Empire, the Ice Palace. As this Team Zero, they're too naive to think they can attack me from behind. Wasuo said in an awkward manner. I am not Yuhabach's personal guard, but hiding in his shadow and avoiding harm for a long time can be regarded as a great contribution. Although Yuhabach can instantly kill the opponent without relying on his own ability, but he can pretend to be aggressive, so he won't be fooled. Your Majesty doesn't need to do anything about these bastards. Bell shouted loudly. In the video screen, Wasuo gave an indifferent explanation. The so-called enemy scene refers to the enemy found instinctively. Although invisible, the enemy is the enemy. He stretched out a finger, and the magic weapon Zanpakuto transformed again, waved again, and many magic soldiers were cut off in an instant. Even if I don't see the enemy, there is still an enemy. No matter where the attack comes from, it will avoid my body. I didn't speak clearly enough, sorry. Wasuo smiled contemptuously, speaking with two tongues sounded vague. You don't have to worry, everyone has bad habits, but what if the unseen enemy is not them, but the concubine? The enemy Senjumaru pointed at should be closer, even closer to the skin, even if it touches the skin. When Wasuo was playing with the magic soldiers, she had no need to remake it. Wasuo's pupils exploded, he couldn't believe it, how could there be such a fast person in the world? At the same time, he also discovered that his clothes were printed with Team Zero's logo. The advantage of being a concubine is that her hands and feet are agile. Senjumaru's reputation is not in vain. Senjumaru's golden skeleton finger held a thin needle thread, the supreme garment made by me, you should be honored to be able to wear it. Then, don't even think about taking it off until you die. Senjumaru's seductive voice seemed to be the devil's whisper in Wasuo's ear at this moment. Because he found that he couldn't move. Kai. Numerous sharp needles pierced through the clothes, instantly piercing Wasuo into a hedgehog, and blood gushed out all around. Wasuo was killed on the spot. The video playback ends here. Is this the true strength of Team Zero? Able to perceive the twists and turns of the enemy, and was killed in seconds. It's saved. The Soul Society is saved. The Shinigami immediately regained their confidence and their morale increased. Did you design the trap in advance? As expected of you, Shutara Senjumaru. Kurotsuchi Mayuri looked at Senjumaru in the video, his eyes flashed brightly. He and Senjumaru are old acquaintances, two people who love and kill each other. Wasuo was instantly killed by Senjumaru, which was also expected by Kurotsuchi Mayuri. On the list, what is your combat power? Kurotsuchi Mayuri secretly smiled, already putting Senjumaru on the combat power list in his heart. The 10th Division team building. I didn't even realize when Senjumaru changed the clothes of Quincy. Is this the Zero Division? Tōshirō pulled out Zanpakuto from behind, his eyes serious. If you face Wasuo by yourself, let alone instant kill, it is estimated that all attacks will not be able to touch the opponent. Although Daiguren Hiraneru is not in a complete form at the moment, his current power can't fully release Bankai at all. Captain, Quincy isn't that strong. Sensing Tōshirō's serious expression, Rangaku walked over and slightly bent over with a smile and said, although they have special abilities, their brains don't seem to be very good. Tell the enemy. Tōshirō nodded. That guy's intelligence is a little lower, but let's not underestimate the enemy. You also have to learn Bankai as soon as possible, in case you need it. Rangaku smiled sweetly. I will work hard. However, after Wasuo's inventory, the name of the 46th person on the list appeared on the big screen. 46th place in the battle list, Grimmjow Jagerjaquez. Chapter 15, Wang Shu's Flash, Hollow Ichigo. Seeking data. Name, Grimmjow Jagerjaquez. Faction, Espada. Identity, Arankar. Ability, Homing Blade. Attack, 80. Defense, 77. Speed, 85. Intelligence, 79. Vitality, 80. Reiatsu, 77. Combat power, 280,000. Hawako Mundo, Lingshu Palace. TCH, is the combat power only 280,000. The corner of Grimmjow's mouth twitched, showing some disdain. From the numerical point of view, his highest is speed, of course, this is also one of his advantages, an attack of 80 is considered qualified, but this ranking is too low. The combat power has only surpassed the top 30,000. I just said that Master Grimmjow will definitely be on the list, and you are the only one who stands out from the siege of the Quincy army. The subordinate officer Xiaolong Kufang said lightly. You must know that Quincy has already been on the list for 4 consecutive people, if the 5th person is still Quincy. Not only Hawako Mundo, but the whole Soul Society will feel too humiliated. 46th, why are you so happy? Let others see you like this, and think that there is no strong person in Espada. Neutra Gilga, the 5th blade, glanced upside down triangular eyes with a sarcasm in his tone. This guy is the equivalent of Zaraki Kenpachi of Seraiti, also a fighting maniac, and in his eyes, 46th place is too low. What are you talking about, Neutra? I don't mind leaving the 5th blade vacant. Grimmjow's eyes were hardened, full of murderous intent. That's exactly what I meant, but I don't know whether the vacant space is the 5th blade or the 6th blade. Neutra snorted coldly. Seraiti. Arankar, is it Captain Aizen's force? Hinamori Momo looked eagerly at the information on the big screen, and unconsciously connected Grimmjow and Aizen together. Since Aizen defected, Hinamori dreamed of Aizen every day and every night, how she wished that Aizen's defection to the Soul Society was also a dream. Thinking of Aizen touching her head tenderly in her mind, she blushed and murmured, Captain Aizen, I believe you must have a reason for leaving Soul Society. At this point, the video has started to play on the big screen. On an empty battlefield, Kurosaki Ichigo is fighting Grimmjow. A red Sero erupted from Grimmjow's palm, Ichigo used the crescent moon to block, Grimmjow dropped Zanpakuto, and the other hand released a Sero. Boom. There was an explosion sound enough to pierce eardrums, and it carried a lot of smoke. Grimmjow dodged away from the source of the explosion, bursting into ecstasy. Ha ha ha. Great, this is what I've been waiting for, the moment when I can fight with you with all my might. I won't forgive you, I must let you know why I left this scar. He pointed to a knife mark on his chest and said. This is the scar left by Yuya Tianchong's cut in the last battle with Kurosaki Ichigo. Ichigo didn't respond to Grimmjow's provocation. Grimmjow smiled contemptuously, and asked Ichigo why he came to Hawako Mundo while chasing after the victory. Ichigo explained that it was to save Inoue Orihime, but Grimmjow didn't think so, he thought Ichigo came to fight. Crescent Moon and Sero collided again, and Sero was obviously stronger. After bouncing off Crescent Moon, he rushed straight to Ichigo. Grimmjow jumped behind Ichigo in an instant and cut down together. Ichigo was injured in the abdomen and fell from the sky. Seeing this picture, Kurosaki Ichigo in this world was shocked. Damn it, Inoue got caught in Hawako Mundo. Who the hell did it? Aizen. He had watched Aizen pass negation and enter Hawako Mundo. If Hogyoku has merged with Aizen, then he has most likely ruled Hawako Mundo, and he must be the one who took Inoue. Kurosaki, are you going to save me? Orihime put 2 index fingers in front of the hump and nodded, his face flushed a little. Last time I fought the Quincy, and this time I fought Arrancar again. You have quite a lot of fighting experience. Renji crossed his arms and said with a mocking smile. That's for sure. If you were on the battlefield, you would have already been caught. Ichigo grinned back. In the video screen, Grimmjow was the first to jump down after a hit. The expression is getting better, Kurosaki, but it's not enough. He slid his fingers across the Zanpakuto blade and swung it at Ichigo with a spray of blood. It's not you who I really want to fight against, take my trick. Grimmjow's right arm was shaped like an eagle's claw, and a powerful energy burst out from his palm instantly. Compared with the red Sero released just now, this time it uses its own blood as a medium to mix Reiatsu to produce a more advanced Sero. King Sero. Grimmjow grinned ferociously, and the direction of the arm was not Kurosaki Ichigo, but Inoue Orihime standing on the pillar in the distance. Seeing this, Kurosaki Ichigo's heart tightened suddenly. This level of Sero, according to his current state, is simply unstoppable. If left alone, Orihime will definitely be killed. Wait, Grimmjow, Ichigo growled, but it was too late. Wang Sero had already sent out, the blue light wave was as fast as lightning, directed at Inoue Orihime. Void Knight Palace. It suits your character, Grimmjow, to attack the unarmed, Neutra sarcastically said. It's not like what came out of your mouth. In terms of means, you are much more despicable than me. Grimmjow didn't look Neutra in the eye. Judging from the pictures in the video, Kurosaki Ichigo did not show his real strength at all. He is not interested in the weak. As for attacking Inoue Orihime, he just wanted to force Ichigo. If you don't show your true strength, then how boring this battle is. However, that human seems to be killed by you. The third blade, Tia Holly Bell, said. Baragan sneered, forcing the opponent's full strength. There is nothing wrong with this approach. Just when everyone thought that Inoue Orihime must die. The flash of Wang Shu in the picture exploded before it landed on the stone pillar. Waiting for the smoke to clear, Kurosaki Ichigo stood with his sword. And on his face, he was wearing a fake mask with red lines on half of it. Chapter 16, Hollow versus Returning to the Blade. Kurosaki Ichigo wearing a mask, the pupils of the eyes changed, and the original whites around the golden pupils turned into pure black, just like Manos Grande's hollowness and horror. This is the 4th stage of his hollow. In addition to the original 4 red stripes on the mask, 2 red stripes appeared on the right and the middle, and 3 red stripes appeared on the right jaw, which once again marked the deepening of hollow. Reiatsu, speed, slashing power, and defense power have all been greatly improved. It finally appeared. Ichigo's appearance made Grimmjow very excited. Those outside the video were in disbelief seeing Ichigo hollow. Visored. Has Kurosaki been able to control hollow? Hiroko Shinji put his hands in his trouser pockets and smiled faintly. He originally planned to win over Kurosaki Ichigo to join Visored, and now it seems that Kurosaki Ichigo will join the masked corps in the future. That mask. The corner of Kurosaki Ichigo's mouth twitched, his heart sank. Is it the void in the body? In the spiritual world, in addition to seeing the so-called Uncle Zagetsu, he also has a ghost who looks similar to himself. And every time the mask appears, his consciousness will be occupied by the void in his body, thus becoming irritable and irrational. Of course he doesn't know yet that Shubai is the real Zagetsu. Now, the self in the picture can not only enter the hollow state autonomously, but even not lose his mind. What is going on? Urahara store. Urahara Kazuki stroked his chin and smiled faintly. Good job, Hiroko. Although Ichigo has not entered Visored yet, he can guess that Ichigo's ability to control hollow is definitely the help given by Hiroko and others. And only them. The video screen continues. Inoue Orihime looked at Kurosaki Ichigo hollow, and her expression suddenly became panicked. She had seen Ichigo where hollow lost his mind, so she was worried that Ichigo would still be occupied this time. Ichigo turned his head and said after tightening his eyes, I'm sorry, it's scary. It's not convincing for me to tell you don't worry, but I want to tell you, don't worry, I'll end it right away. Quote. Grimmjow laughed maniacally, he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. His claw-shaped hand was attached to the blade of Zanpakuto, and the blue light invaded the blade, followed by a strong Reiatsu eruption, and the surrounding smoke was shaken tens of meters high. Crackle. Leopard King. Even though Grimmjow swung the knife, a tornado swept along, and his sight was blinded by the smoke. Inoue, from now on, you will open a 3-day shield in front of yourself and Nailu, and don't untie it even for a second. Ichigo's voice is much calmer than before. And over there, Grimmjow has finished returning. After Zanpakuto was liberated, he disappeared. His body turned into a white leopard in armor. The blue eye shadow stretched to the temples and the long blue hair blended into one. It was as sharp as a fin. The mask moved to the forehead, and the back grew out the knotted tail with a black tip is extremely gorgeous. Hollow versus Return to Blade. Ichigo's hollow just now was already shocking, and Grimmjow's returning blade gave everyone a blow. Team 10. Tōshirō looked at Grimmjow whose body had completely changed, and couldn't help frowning. Returning to the blade is equivalent to our Bankai, but I didn't expect Grimmjow to improve so much after returning to the blade. Just the Reiatsu that erupted when Grimmjow returned to the blade, Tōshirō felt the shock. To no Hueco Mundo, in addition to the overflowing Jillian, mid-level Manos Grande Ajukas are also common, and there is even the highest level Manos Grande Vasto Lord beyond the captain level. After Grimmjow returned to the blade, the sense of oppression brought by it was completely comparable to that of Vasto Lord. Although Grimmjow in the Arrancar period has not yet evolved into Vasto Lord, the power gained after returning to the blade is definitely beyond the captain level. Kurosaki Ichigo from Hollow, Arrancar from Returning Edge, who will win the captain? Rangaku asked with his eyes slightly curved. Tōshirō didn't hesitate. Kurosaki. In the video screen, Grimmjow, who returned to the blade, spread his sharp fingers and roared into the sky, creating harsh sound waves, which spread towards the surroundings. Immediately afterwards, the sound pressure like a strong wind attacked everything around indiscriminately. Ichigo immediately used Tensa Zangetsu to block in front of him, feeling unbelievable, can create such a strong destructive power just by sound pressure. Inadvertently, the leopard-shaped Grimmjow jumped in front of him and landed with one claw. Ichigo was instantly sent flying, smashing through more than a dozen stone pillars in succession, and falling downwards. Grimmjow didn't give Ichigo any time to breathe, kicked and jumped, the speed was no less than that of Quincy's flying scythe, and flew behind Ichigo, and attacked again. The continuous attacks made Yihu completely powerless to fight back. Grimmjow was suspended in midair, his eyes continuously scanned the smoke and dust below, and said disdainfully, "You should have more than that, come out quickly." Sure enough, Ichigo appeared behind him, and Tensa Zangetsu swung the crescent moon, and the black and red sword light rushed down like a wave. However, Grimmjow's contemptuous laughter came from the crescent sky. "Very good, Kurosaki Ichigo, very good eyes, your eyes, I can't get used to it." With that said, the two intertwined again. Boom. Bang bang. With each collision, the shock wave shakes the ground. This level of fighting, Team 6, Byakuya Kuchiki couldn't help heaving a sigh of relief. Because the battle between the two has completely reached the captain's level. Thinking of his battle with Kurosaki Ichigo, he couldn't help feeling, is this the power hidden in your body? Kurosaki Ichigo. He knows that if Kurosaki Ichigo in the video fights him, he will probably lose. Byakuya Kuchiki shook his head, he was still too weak. The two are evenly matched in the video. Grimmjow is not enjoying himself because Kurosaki Ichigo is not playing his full strength yet. It seems that the duration of your mask state has been extended. Did you learn a lesson from the last battle, or did the battle along the way make you unconsciously improve? If the mask is broken immediately like before, then it must be too boring. Grimmjow raised his arms and stabbed at Ichigo with sharp claws, but without thinking, Ichigo easily grabbed his arm. "You said it would be boring if the mask was broken, you're so ridiculous." After a roar, a large amount of Reiatsu erupted from Ichigo's body. Tensa Zangetsu slashed, and Grimmjow's chest was cut open in an instant, and blood sprayed out like a belly. "That's my line, Grimmjow, because it's too boring, so you must not release the release state." Ichigo looked fierce and rushed towards the other party again. Seeing this, Ichigo swallowed a mouthful of spit in this world, feeling extremely panicked. Why does the self in the video look like a fighting maniac? Chapter 17, Jie Lu, singles don't deserve to win, right? Such a strong desire to fight made Inoue Orihime feel a little scared. Looking at Orihime, whose expression changed, Sato turned to look at Ichigo and said, "I believe in Ichigo, I will never lose my mind." Ichigo in the video, using Tensa Zangetsu to keep pressing. Feeling that he was at a disadvantage, Grimmjow spun around, turning his body into a blast of wind under the high-speed rotation, but this was just a backward kick with accumulated power. With a whoosh, he came over in an instant, and while kicking heavily, his sharp claws grabbed Ichigo. Just as he was complacently chasing, Ichigo swung his knife and slashed. The sharp blade sliced through Grimmjow's armor, creating blinding sparks. Grimmjow unleashes his unique ability, Leopard Hook. As the fight continued, Ichigo began to gasp for breath. The hollow state has continued until now, and he does feel tired. You know, initially under Vizard's training, the masked state could only last 11 seconds, and in the last battle, he cut Grimmjow who hadn't returned. Although the shape of Hollow's mask has changed this time, which means that Hollow's degree has deepened, but the duration is much longer than last time. Grimmjow taunted with the language, and flexing his arms, fired an emerald green weapon from behind towards the stone pillar. With a bang, the stone pillar exploded and shattered. You took 5 such attacks. And your mask is almost at its limit. He found that the edge of Ichigo's mask had begun to crack and turned into dust and fell. You've reached the limit. Ichigo was very disdainful, touched the broken mask, and restored the broken part with Reiatsu. However, he found that Grimmjow's mask was also a little damaged, and taunted him. "I think you are the one who can't hold it anymore. I'm so sorry, it's your eyesight." As he said that, Grimmjow kicked his feet, and the two collided again. The throne of the Void Knight Palace. Aizen looked at Kurosaki Ichigo on the screen and smiled slightly, satisfied. He knew all about Ichigo's whereabouts. From birth, to meeting Rukia Kuchiki, to fighting Ishida Uryu, and awakening the power of Shinigami. Even after fighting with Abarai Renji to learn Zanpakuto, and fighting Zaraki Kenpachi to learn Bankai, fighting Byakuya Kuchiki to take the first step in Hollow, all of this is under the control of Aizen. The fusion of Shinigami, Quincy and Hollow, this is the best material for Aizen research. Now he is content to see Kurosaki Ichigo in full control of Hollow. He didn't expect that one step of his plan in the future would be revealed like this. In the video, in the ensuing fight, Grimmjow completely pins down Ichigo. In the distance, Nailu couldn't bear to look at the beaten Ichigo in the distance. Ichigo in the mask state is completely suppressed. Whether it is against Dorudoni or against Ulquiorra, Ichigo wearing a mask always has an absolute advantage. At that time, Nailu was always with Ichigo, she thought that Ichigo wearing a mask was invincible, so she believed in Ichigo unconditionally. However, the current Ichigo was beaten so badly by Grimmjow that even his mask disappeared. Come on, Ichigo, come on. Nailu looked at Orihime who was trembling aside, and then shouted at Ichigo to cheer him up. Hey, what are you doing? You come to cheer for Ichigo. Ichigo is fighting for you, but why are you afraid of Ichigo? Seeing that Orihime was unmoved, Xiao Nailu stretched out her two immature arms. I told you before, Ichigo is a gentle person. That gentle Ichigo rushed towards Lord Ulquiorra immediately after hearing your name. Quote. Ichigo is a human being, but he became a Shinigami, put on a mask, and even used such exaggerated power. He must be in pain, but for Orihime, he fought until his body was covered in bruises. Orihime stood in a daze in the distance, didn't even shout for cheer. Hee. Woman. Haweko Mundo, outside the empty night palace. Nailu stared at the big screen curiously. She hasn't met Kurosaki Ichigo yet, and she doesn't know why she trusts him so much, but she can make herself say that, Kurosaki Ichigo is definitely a good person. Master Nailu, that human woman is so heartless, she really doesn't deserve to be Kurosaki Ichigo's friend. Nailu's subordinate, Pei Shui Kadixi, spoke very fast. In her opinion, there must be a reason why Nailu-sama cherishes and believes in that human named Kurosaki Ichigo so much. Pei Shui, don't say that, Inoue Orihime is a human girl after all, it's normal to be afraid. Nailu said. Miss Nailu is too kind. In my opinion, Inoue Orihime is a bad woman. Donde Chaka bared her teeth. Scared you, Inoue. The living Ichigo turned to look at Orihime with guilt. He was also a little scared seeing his own hollow appearance, let alone Orihime. No, Kurosaki-san, I should cheer you up. Inoue apologized, holding her hands under her chin, aggrieved. Sato nodded, we should trust Ichigo. In the video screen. With half of the mask cut off, Ichigo is still fighting Grimmjow, but the battle is extremely brutal. After knocking Ichigo out, Grimmjow lost interest and said disdainfully, it seems that you have reached your limit, it's over, Kurosaki. He raised his claws, wanting to end this boring fight. But at this moment, Orihime's voice came over. Don't die, Kurosaki-san. With crystal tears streaming down Orihime's cheeks, she yelled at Ichigo, it's okay to lose, it's okay not to work so hard, just please don't get hurt again. Orihime's voice shone to Ichigo like a radiance, and suddenly he became aware of the attacking Grimmjow. Without moving his head, he just raised his hand and grabbed the lightning-fast claw. I'm sorry, Grimmjow, it seems that I can't be slaughtered by you anymore. Ichigo dissipated the fatigue before, turned his head, and the empty eyes stared under the half-mask made Grimmjow a little scared. Ichigo picked up Tensa Zangetsu with the other hand and chopped it off with one blow. Kai. The blade slashed across Grimmjow's left shoulder and down his stomach. As the blood sprayed out from the wound, it also infected Tensa Zangetsu into black and red. Seeing this dramatic scene, the corners of Grimmjow's mouth twitched. Damn, do you spread dog food, right? Single dogs don't deserve to win. P.S. Ask for data, if there is data, the author has the motivation to go faster. Chapter 18, Kenpachi's Shame, lost to Quincy. Grimmjow was so angry that he almost spurted blood. The advantages that had been hoarded before were all erased by Inoue Orihime's cheers. This shit is fighting, not showing affection. Ah, what a surprise, it was defeated in this way. 8th Blade Zael Aporo shook his head, feeling very ridiculous. If it is really not as good as the opponent in hard power, it will be nothing if you are defeated. It's really unforgivable to make such a fuss. Grimmjow frowned tightly, and the creases on the nose also appeared. He stared at Zael Aporo fiercely, and said angrily, do you think I will lose like this? In the video screen, Grimmjow took the knife and fell to his knees in pain. However, he did not lose his ability to move. He grabbed Tensa Zangetsu suddenly, and said with a last breath, stop joking, just like this, do you want to win? Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Ichigo's blow has made Grimmjow unable to resist. But Grimmjow, relying on willpower, struck again, and his claws plunged into Ichigo's chest. Ichigo quickly backed away, gasping for air while clutching his wound. What's that look on your part? Grimmjow stared at Ichigo wearily. From Ichigo's unruly gaze, he felt that no matter how badly Ichigo was beaten by him, he seemed to be able to win him, which made him very upset. Grimmjow is haughty, self-centered, and often doesn't even follow Aizen's orders. Anyone who dares to despise him will be wiped out. He jumped into the sky, put his hands together, and 10 traces of blue light stretched out along his fingertips. The claw of the Leopard King. Grimmjow's strongest stunt. Swish. He swung his arm, and the Jaguar King's claw slammed into Kurosaki Ichigo. Ichigo parried with Tensa Zagetsu, but was totally overwhelmed. Ha 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 ha, it's over, Kurosaki. You lost to me, I'm the king. Grimmjow bared his fangs and laughed wildly. Swinging the other arm, 5 more light blades attacked Ichigo. But at this time, Ichigo stood holding the Tensa Zagetsu horizontal knife, and the blade cut across the claws, like a cutting machine, cracking the claws of the Leopard King into pieces. You're right, I'm here to duel with you. Ichigo roared extremely resolutely, holding the knife in both hands, and slashed over again. To defeat you, Grimmjow, defeat Urukiola, defeat Aizen, and bring back Rukia, Sato, Ishida, Renji, and Inoue. How can I lose to you, Grimmjow? The blade slices through Lightclaw, heading straight for Grimmjow. Swish. Tensa Zangetsu stabs Grimmjow in the chest, and the Leopard King falls unconscious, but Ichigo grabs his arm and sends him to the ground. The video playback ends here. The battle between Grimmjow and Kurosaki Ichigo ends with Kurosaki Ichigo winning. Damn it, I lost. Grimmjow grimaced. In the battle just now, the strength shown by Kurosaki Ichigo is indeed superior to his own. But from Jillian to Ajukas, and then being selected to become a Spada, Grimmjow went all the way, and finally lost in the hands of a human. He was unwilling. But Aizen on the throne has an unusually light expression. It stands to reason that he should be unhappy when his subordinates were defeated. But the opponent was Kurosaki Ichigo, his best research material, and beating Grimmjow was exactly what he wanted to see. Successfully controlled Hollow and defeated Grimmjow with Hollow's power. I read you right, Kurosaki Ichigo. The corner of Aizen's mouth raised. I don't know if you can control the real power in your body. ... Sato and others in this world all set their sights on Kurosaki Ichigo. The battle just now was too hot. Especially when Ichigo said he was going to defeat Aizen and bring his friends back. To know that Aizen got Hogyoku to flee to Hawako Mundo, they all know. Aizen's strength is unfathomable, and Ichigo's words to defeat Aizen are enough to prove that he attaches great importance to friendship. Who needs you to save? You are not the only one who can free Bankai. Compared to the others, Renji was not so moved, but put his hands on his hips and said, it is our Seraites' responsibility to capture Aizen, and you, an agent, Shinigami, don't get involved. Okay. Don't get ed by that Leopard King named Grimmjow. Ichigo gave him a blank look. Who would? You were almost defeated by him. Seraite, 11th team. TCH, that kid has progressed so fast that he can defeat Vasto Lord. Madarame Makaku couldn't believe it. Although he had also defeated Ichigo before, it was too exaggerated to defeat Arankar after returning to the sword. Don't forget that kid once defeated our captain. Yumi nodded and looked at Zaraki Kenpachi beside him. Kenpachi's eyes lit up, as if he felt the passion of Ichigo and Grimmjow fighting. Ha ha ha, is this the real you, Kurosaki Ichigo? He can't wait to fight Kurosaki Ichigo again right now. Of course, it's Kurosaki Ichigo from Hollow in the video. Just as Kenpachi imagined the two fighting, another light flashed in the sky. Grimmjow Jagerjackas's name is deeply imprinted on the gold list of combat power. Next moment, the 45th place in the combat power list, Lidodo Lampardo. Name, Lidodo Lampardo. Force, Invisible Empire. Identity, Destroyer. Ability, Holy Word G Glutton. Attack, 82. Defense, 75. Speed, 80. Intelligence, 78. Vitality, 81. Reiatsu, 80. Combat power, 300,000. Record, Lidodo Lampardo vs Zaraki Kenpachi, win, versus Pepe Wakabrata, win. The 44th place in the combat power list, Giselle Jewel. Name, Giselle Jewel. Force, Invisible Empire. Identity, Destroyer. Ability, Holy Word Z Zombie Dead. Attack, 83. Defense, 79. Speed, 79. Intelligence, 83. Vitality, 82. Reiatsu, 81. Combat power, 320,000. The announcement of the 45th and 44th places on the combat power list caused quite a stir again. Another two Quincy Masters with the ability of holy characters. Even the unseen ability of the Holy Word, the Gluttonous Ghost and the Dead. Team 11, Zaraki Kenpachi frowned. He actually lost to the Quincy ranked 45th. Chapter 19. Defeated Kenpachi, Ichigo to the rescue. Seeking data. You know, Zaraki Kenpachi is a high-end fighter among Gote 13 captains. It is one of the 5 special combat powers recognized by Yuhabach. It can be recognized as special combat power because of the unknowns contained in them. Compared with other special combat power, potential ability, wisdom, reiatsu and means, Zaraki Kenpachi's combat power is the most intuitive. Even Kenpachi, who has not mastered Shikai and Bankai, is definitely not something that a Quincy master like Lidodo can defeat. Impossible, How could the captain be defeated by the 45th Quincy on the combat power list? Did something go wrong? Madarame Makaku's pupils exploded. It cannot be said that Zaraki Kenpachi is invincible, but losing to such a low-ranking Quincy is simply outrageous. Gongchen also couldn't believe it. It must be that Lee Todo used insidious means, otherwise, how could she defeat the captain? Or is it that her holy character ability, Glutton, is specially used to restrain the captain? Xiao Gong is right, Ajian must have been restrained, or was attacked. Yachinliu said affirmatively, losing the usual smile on his face. Fourth team. Kenpachi lost. A flash of surprise flashed in Unoka's beautiful eyes. As first-generation Kenpachi, she is known as the greatest villain in the history of the Soul Society, and in her heart, Zaraki Kenpachi is the one who inherits the name of Kenpachi. There can't be two Kenpachi in one era, but she doesn't want to prove her philosophy in this way. Eighth team. Jingle Chunshui stroked the bamboo hat, and twitched the corner of his mouth. Yeah, why is Kenpachi defeated? Xiao Nanao, do you think I will also lose? Nanao looked at Jingle coldly and said, at least I won't lose to Lidodo. The captains of the other teams also found it hard to believe the information exposed on the big screen. When everyone was shocked, Lidodo Lampardo vs Zaraki Kenpachi battle situation. With Goddess Catnipe, Giselle Jewel and Menina Macaron, the four sneaked up after Zaraki Kenpachi defeated Graham Tomau, by luck. Close black lens bracket. Lidodo Lampardo vs Pepe Wakabrata battle situation. After Mugaruma Kensai kicked Pepe away, Lidodo evolved into a holy body and used the ability, Gluttony, to swallow Pepe. Close black lens bracket. Lidodo's record appears in text on the big screen. The four Quincy divisions defeated Captain Zaraki through a sneak attack, which shows how strong Captain Zaraki is. Do the despicable Quincients only attack by sneak attack? As the Gremmy Themius defeated by Captain Zaraki also a Quincy. It's amazing, Captain Zaraki is mighty. It turned out that Zaraki Kenpachi was defeated by four people in a sneak attack. The Shinigami of Seraiti immediately felt relieved. Winning by fluke means that Zaraki Kenpachi is just defeated and will definitely not die. The Invisible Empire, the Ice Palace. Pepe stared at Lidodo viciously, and cursed. Lidodo, it's fine if you don't help me deal with Shinigami, but you actually turned against me. In the end, you even devoured me. If the two of them were alone together, he definitely wouldn't dare to speak in this tone, but now that the Star Knights are here, Lidodo definitely wouldn't dare to do anything. You still ask me, if it weren't for you wanting to take credit, things would have developed to this point. And you still control Xiaomi to attack me, which is unreasonable. Lidodo knew that she was right, so she was not polite at all. That's right, Lily did a great job. Bumby clapped his hands and applauded. As Lidodo's record was revealed, the big screen began to play the video. The ruins of the Lingwang Palace battlefield. Zaraki Kenpachi had just experienced a battle, but found that Yachinliu had disappeared, leaving only neat clothes. He ordered the soldiers to quickly search for Yachinliu, but at this moment, there was a loud noise in the sky. The female knights Lidodo, Giselle, Menina and Gaddis make their debut with their long legs. But the soldiers were not in the mood to look at their legs at all, because the thunder that was shining in the sky was crazily devouring their lives. Ordinary soldiers were instantly turned into coke by electricity. And what caused all of this was the holy word T of the knights, Thunder Goddess. Kenpachi looked at the soldiers in pain, and immediately swung Zanpakuto to slash, but he never thought that Candace dodged with lightning speed in an instant, and successfully counterattacked with thunder from behind. If it weren't for the fact that he had just experienced a strong fight, Kenpachi would never have been able to take the move. At this time, the pink-haired lowly Menina appeared. With the power of the holy word P, he knocked Kenpachi to the ground with one punch. Hurry up and protect the captain. Seeing that Kenpachi was shot down, the team members hurried forward to protect him. But another girl with short yellow hair appeared in front of her and blocked her way. Lidodo didn't care about taking advantage of others. Kenpachi is so powerful, she wanted to kill him while he was covered in bruises. Go away, brat. Don't get in our way, or I'll kill you, shouted the soldiers. Don't yell, you won't get in the way soon. Lee Todo smiled lightly, and her mouth expanded and stretched instantly, turning into an incomparably huge mouth. Swallow the soldiers in one bite. Seeing such a terrifying scene, many Shinigami of the 11th team trembled. Because they saw it in the video, the soldiers who were swallowed had themselves. It's a terrifying ability, and it's disgusting. Tōshirō frowned, thinking that the Quincy's ability of the Invisible Empire is just too weird. Rangaku also felt disgusted, no wonder ability is called a glutton. Kenpachi in the picture saw the soldiers being killed, and stood up again with consciousness. The tenacious will surprised even the female knights. Crush everything with thunder. Goddess once again attacked Kenpachi with thunder, and many team members were also smashed into meatloaf by the huge stone grabbed by Menina. On the other side, the rest of the team surrounded Giselle, who was like a cockroach with two dull hairs on her head. Instead of being attacked by the Quincy with their strange abilities, it would be better to kill Giselle and save Kenpachi. Die. One of them slashed at Giselle with a Zanpakuto, and the latter's body was split open, but she didn't care. Instead, she said flatly, my blood has splashed on you, and you will turn into corpses. Okay everyone, let's cut belly. Sure enough, the soldiers lost control of their hands and feet and died in their own hands one after another. Looking at Kenpachi who fell to the ground, the female knights began to discuss who would give Kenpachi the final blow. But at this moment, the sky exploded. The female knights were stunned for a moment, not knowing what happened. However, a crisp voice came from behind them. It hurts so much, it seems to have overdone it just now. Kurosaki Ichigo has fallen next to Kenpachi. What the hell, why did you get beaten up so badly, Kenpachi? What are you doing here? Kenpachi's pupils slanted. I didn't expect that one day, I would say this to you. Ichigo smiled lightly. Yo, I'm here to save you. Chapter 20, Women's Clothing Boss, Hiroko's Black History. Seeking data. In this world, Kurosaki Ichigo coughed lightly, put his hands on his chest, and said proudly, I'm so handsome. The most handsome scene is the rescue. And who did he save? Zaraki Kenpachi, one of the special forces. The scene is even more handsome. In the video just now, he had just defeated Grimmjow, who was ranked 46th in the combat power list, and made another gorgeous debut, saving Zaraki Kenpachi. Ichigo just wanted to say something. Who else? You guy, why are you everywhere? Renji said so, but he gave Ichigo a thumbs up in his heart. Fortunately, he appeared in time, otherwise Zaraki Kenpachi might really die. Ichigo smiled secretly, I'm sorry, I'm just that strong. 11 team. Fortunately, Xiaoyi arrived in time, otherwise Aegean would be in danger. Yachinliu looked at Kenpachi with some concern. HMPH. Kenpachi snorted coldly, then grinned. Facing the 4 Quincy divisions, his strength at that time was indeed no match for them. I didn't expect to be rescued by Kurosaki Ichigo one day. Kenpachi turned his attention to Yachinliu while thinking. Among the information exposed on the video screen, one of them was that 8,000 streams were missing. Yakiryu is a very important person to Kenpachi. He met Yakiru in the Rukongai grass deer area full of blood and killings. The two lonely souls were attracted to each other. Kenpachi gave him the name Kusajishi Yakiru. Now that Yachinliu is missing and only clothes are left, how can Kenpachi sit still? Yachinliu, don't run around in the future. Kenpachi turned his head and said to Yachinliu on his shoulder. Wherever the vice captain can go, he must have gone to hide somewhere. Madarame Makaku waved his hand. As soon as he finished speaking, Yachinliu jumped behind Yizhao, opened his mouth to bite Yizhao's bald head, and drool on the latter's head. I won't hide from the bald head. One corner hurriedly begged for mercy. I was wrong, the vice captain will definitely not hide, come down quickly. ... The video screen turns. Ikaku and Yumi appear and subdue Giselle, and Ikaku uses Shikai's Hozukimaru on him. Wait, isn't it too embarrassing for you to point a knife at an unarmed girl like this? Giselle wanted to use words to provoke a corner. You have lost the face of a man. Gongchen sees Giselle's intention, which is to lure Yizhao to kill him deliberately. Be careful, maybe bad things will happen if you cut him down. For example, if you splash his blood, you will have trouble. Hearing this, Giselle was stunned for a moment. Her intention was exposed. She quickly pretended to be stupid, raised her hand and said, I don't think such a thing will happen. I'm begging you not to kill me. What a clumsy performance. Let me expose another lie of yours. You say you are an unarmed girl, but you are actually a man. Gongchen's eyes lit up, and he continued to expose. Although you try to hide it, you can't hide the man's body odor. Bumbi turned out to be a master of women's clothing. Everyone outside the video was extremely surprised. Dear Gong, you still have a keen sense of smell. I haven't noticed yet, that guy is a man. Yizhao was stunned. HMPH, it's obvious at a glance. Gongchen said lightly. Visored, Hiroko Shinji's eyes widened, and he rubbed his hands again. Giselle, really a man. Putting aside the hostility, when the female knights first appeared on the stage, Hiroko's eyes were instantly attracted by them, and he secretly praised Giselle's cute 2 bunches of hair. Although Giselle is not as good looking as Menina and Goddess, she is not bad. Now tell him, the girl he likes is a big boss in women's clothing. Sure enough, when boys dress up in disguise, there is nothing wrong with girls. Ha ha ha, Hiroko, I remember you still praised Giselle as cute, is she still cute now? Hiyori laughed loudly. Hiroko grinned awkwardly. Don't mention it, Black History. Giselle in the video was instantly annoyed when she saw herself being exposed. Little Bumble. As soon as he drank it, there was an explosion in the distance. Yizhao and Gongchen quickly moved away. Little Bumbi, I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. Giselle put her hands on the shoulders of Bumbi who had turned into a zombie, and said with a perverted expression, let's tear these guys into pieces. Seeing this scene, Bambi in the Ice Palace immediately turned his gaze to Giselle, and said angrily, Giselle, what are you doing? According to her strength, she was above Giselle, but why was she turned into a zombie by Giselle? Giselle licked her lips, pretending to be innocent. How do I know what will happen in the future? In the picture, Bumbi continuously throws bombs to attack Yizhao and Gongchen, and the two have to dodge. How did that guy unleash the bomb? One corner was a little impatient. Gong Chin seems to have guessed Bumbi's ability. That ability is not like exploding the hit object, but making the hit object explode by itself. How can I understand the corner? Isn't it all the same? Of course it's different, because those spirits can't be hit back with Hozukimaru. Yuki explained carefully. Yijiao understood the general idea. Looking at the spiritual bullet that hit again, he planned to dodge and kill at the same time. Hado's 57 turned to the earth. Looking at such an impulsive corner, Gongchen was a little disgusted, but still used Kido to help from a distance. The stones produced by the cracking of the earth, while resisting the bullets of the spirit, opened a way for a corner. Although there are a lot of spiritual bullets, but with a corner of the bunker, he is not afraid at all. In the blink of an eye, he has already got close to Bambi and cut off one of his arms. Giselle, who was watching the battle, picked up Bumbi's broken limbs, but he didn't care at all, because Bumbi is a zombie and will never die. He talked about the process of making Bumbi into a zombie, showing a pervert and enjoying expression. The expression of little Bumbi at that time made me so excited that my mouth was watering. Just as Yijiao and Gongchen were shocked, Bambi's spiritual bullet had already hit them. It's so pervert, it's disgusting. Gongchen, who was off screen, almost didn't spit it out. Zaraki Kenpachi sneered. You two are really unlucky to have such an opponent. In the video, Giselle was very proud. He scratched his finger and said with a sinister smile, as long as you splash my blood, you will become a zombie. HMPH, the ability to turn enemies into zombies is so interesting. Before Giselle could move, a cold voice behind him sent chills down his spine. Chapter 21. Only pervert can defeat pervert. Seeking data. 12th Division. Bulbulus widened his fish eyes, and said in a daze, from that voice, it seems to be the captain. Kurotsuchi Mayuri's voice is very thin and distinctive, not to mention the Shinigami of the 11th team. Even if other people hear Kurotsuchi Mayuri's voice once, they will never forget it. The captain is also going to the battlefield. Jin turned his head and looked at Kurotsuchi Mayuri. To deal with Giselle's pervert, maybe only their captain, who is also perverted, can deal with Kurotsuchi Mayuri. Urahara store. Urahara Kazuki appeared after listening to Kurotsuchi Mayuri's voice, with a dark smile on his lips. Although Kurotsuchi Mayuri's combat power is not strong, his various inventions can gain a great advantage in battle. However, compared to his special combat power, which is regarded as a means, Kurotsuchi Mayuri is still almost. After all, he founded the Technology Development Bureau. The video screen continues. Following Kurotsuchi Mayuri's sharp voice, there was also an extremely shimmering golden light emanating from his body. Giselle squinted her eyes slightly, turned her head to look, and complained, because it's too dazzling, I can't see clearly at all. Who are you? Another ignorant junior. A great opponent should shine. Kurotsuchi Mayuri's voice became more serious. On the side of the battlefield, Yijiao and Gongchen, who were hit by the spiritual bullet, had already hid, and complained. Even if you don't listen to the voice, the only one who can dress like that is Captain Ni. Zaraki Kenpachi outside the video is speechless. Why did Kurotsuchi Mayuri change into such an outfit again? Although this is his style, it's too outrageous for the whole body to glow. Such a dazzling golden light. If Gongchen and Yijiao hadn't been familiar with him and recognized him through their voices, they might have been recognized as Sun Baby. Seeing that the situation was not good, Giselle immediately came to Bumbi's side. His ability is to control zombies to fight for him. He can be regarded as a puppet master. He can only fight from a distance, and he will definitely be slaughtered in close combat. Bambi, who was made into a zombie, can act as his own shield. So sad, Gigi, I'm so sad. Bumbi grabbed Giselle with dumbfounded eyes, drooling on Giselle's clothes. Please, I can't bear it anymore, Gigi. It's so dirty. Giselle slapped Bumbi on the face, and the latter was instantly sent flying. Giselle doesn't know how to be kind to Lin Xiangxiu, because now Bumbi is only his subordinate. He stepped forward and grabbed Bumbi's hair, pressed it to his forehead, and said, if you want to get rewards, you have to wait until it's all over. Yes, I'm sorry to make you angry. Although Bambi was beaten, he didn't dare to get angry at all. The behavior of the Quincy is incomprehensible. Even though they were in the same camp, they actually hurt each other. It's outrageous enough that Pepe was eaten by Lidodo. I didn't expect Giselle to be even more pervert to Bambi. Don't worry, Captain, I will not betray you. Omeda said with staring eyes while eating potato chips. Sui Fon looked disgusted. No need. Ice Palace. Bumbi couldn't stand being R******D by Giselle any longer, and immediately got up and grabbed his collar, shouting angrily, damn man, you are so disgusting. If there is no video, the two of them may still be good sisters. But the self in the video is really miserable. She was already malicious to men, and often even resorted to killing male grassroots members as a means of venting her emotions. Now being treated as a fool by Giselle is simply unreasonable. Ah, little Bumbi, calm down, I didn't mean it. Giselle raised her hands, and her appearance of having nothing to do with her made Bumbi even more disgusted. Okay, stop arguing, the hero of justice will solve the enemy for you then. Holy text S. Masco du Muscalan said naively. In the video screen, Kurotsuchi Mayuri has put away the light of majesty, claiming that it is for mortals like Giselle to see. Giselle sneered, she is so outstanding, how can she still be regarded as a mortal? Because everyone is mortal compared to me. Annoyed by Kurotsuchi Mayuri's answer, Giselle manipulates Bambi into the Eucharist. Blue light flashed all around. A five-pointed star appeared on the top of the head, and on the back stretched out the wings of spirit particles with separated wing tips. Bambi continuously fired a large number of spirit particle bombs from the wings. A violent explosion happened instantly. But Nirvana pulled the sun petals on Kurotsuchi Mayuri's head and led him away from the attack. At the same time, Kurotsuchi Mayuri determined the speed of the opponent's spirit, and ordered Nirvana to use the spirit fixation device, and set it at about 3 seconds. Numerous spirit seed fixtures like Pokemon Pokeballs poured down, but the spirit bullets did not explode after hitting the Pokeball. Giselle was very surprised, why didn't it explode? When he was in a daze, the elf ball had landed beside the two of them. Boom. That's when the explosion happened. Fortunately, Giselle used Bambi as a shield, and the latter was blown into a mummified body, but she was fine. As expected of Kurotsuchi Mayuri, Urahara Kazuki lowered his hat outside the video. The spirit seed fixing device is a very simple device. The activity that touches the spirit seed will stop within the set time. It is not the delay of the bomb, but the bombization of the contacted object, and the skill will stop within 3 seconds. Urahara Kazuki naturally knows the function of the Pokeball. It is a good way to consider using this device to deal with Bambi. After Kurotsuchi Mayuri in the video explained Giselle's confusion, he sneered and said, "Next, you two will hold hands and become my research material." Never thought that Giselle didn't panic at all, instead she laughed, grabbed Bambi's clothes with one hand, and raised the other. Which two are you referring to? At this time, dozens of Shinigami made into zombies have come to Giselle. Seeing that there are many acquaintances in the zombie Shinigami, Gongchen and Yijiao are furious, this is simply too cruel. Oh, it's really nerve-wracking. Kurotsuchi Mayuri touched his chin with a helpless face. Although they are zombies, they are all members of Gote 13 after all. My heart hurts because of my love, and I can no longer continue to fight. He shook his head again, there is no other way, since it has become like this, it can only be handled by Arrancar who has no feelings for Shinigami. There was a bang. 4 Arrancars, Ruby, Dorudoni, Taruti, and Charlotte with stitched wounds on their bodies make their debut. Seeing this, everyone outside the video was stunned. Why does Kurotsuchi Mayuri also have zombies in his hand? Sure enough, only pervert can defeat pervert. Chapter 22. Zombie Xiaobai, Scientists vs. Zombies. Seeking data. Hawako Mundo, Void Night Palace. Nani, why did we appear in the battle between the Shinigami and the Quincy? Besides, it looks like a zombie. Charlotte's face twitched, unwilling to believe the result. Damn it, did I lose to Shinigami? Taruti's eyes hardened, looking at the sutured wound on his face, full of displeasure. Ruby also showed Seema's face, it's a shame to be controlled by Shinigami. It's a wonderful thing for us to become a fighting zombie. Deludoni said briskly. Shinigami don't attack Shinigami, they Arrancar may have a good kill. In the video, Arrancar, who was resurrected, immediately had an argument with Gongchen. Because there was a fight between them once. Although he's been resurrected, that crazy man might change his mind and kill us at some point. After the talk, the Arrancars hurriedly considered the current situation. Don't go on and on about it without authorization. Kurotsuchi Mayuri instantly launched an electric shock, allowing the 4 of them to feel the power of thunder. He snatched Arrancar from the 8th blade, Sayer Apollo Curry, and he didn't expect it to come in handy one day. Giselle spread her hands. Although Kurotsuchi Mayuri also created zombies, how could he defeat his zombie army with only 4 zombies? Although the words are big, who knows what the result will be? Miss, you are so shameless. How could we lose to Shinigami? Roared the Arrancars, already rushing towards the army of zombie Shinigami. Seeing the zombie Shinigami Yumikawa, he still couldn't bear to do it, but Kurotsuchi Mayuri said that the team members must die for Gote, and if they harm Guti, they must die to apologize. This sentence was said by the former captain, Yamamoto Lusai. The fighting power of the zombie Arrancar was unexpected, and it even directly crushed the zombie Shinigami. Even Bambi, who fought again, was defeated again. Wow, that's amazing, little Bambi is no match for them at all. Giselle didn't panic at all, she put her hands on her waist and was very calm. Then he grinned, I can't help it, you can come out, Captain. As soon as the words fell, Hitsugaya Tōshirō, the captain of the 10th Division with a scabbard in his left hand and Hiranmaru in his right, stood impressively in midair, looking contemptuously. Dark brown skin, apparently made into a zombie by Giselle. Seeing the scene in the video, Team Juban. Nani, Captain, you. Giselle turned into a zombie. Rangaku's beautiful eyes shrank suddenly, extremely shocked. Although Toshiro's strength is lower than the captain's when there is no full Bankai, it should not be a problem to deal with Giselle who can only rely on zombies to fight. But he was also turned into a zombie. Could it be that because of insufficient information, when he didn't know Giselle's abilities, he was splashed into the opponent's blood? Damn it! Toshirō clenched his fists, his eyes looking at the screen helplessly. Being made into a zombie, his combat power must be much stronger than ordinary Shinigami zombies, and it must be easy to deal with Arankars. Instead of helping in the war, Tōshirō was very annoyed that he became a tool used by the Quincy. He'd rather die than see himself attacking Shinigami for Quincy. Division 12. Kurotsuchi Mayuri looked at the zombie Tōshirō, couldn't hide the excitement on his face, and burst out laughing. Captain Hitsugaya, even you have become Giselle's zombie. His ability of holy text is really more interesting. Team 5. Hinamori was very anxious and worried. Xiaobai, you must not have any accidents. In the third team, Kira also frowned. Tōshirō, can't you change back? As soon as Tōshirō appeared on the screen, the mighty Reiatsu covered the entire battlefield. Akaku and Yumi couldn't understand. Just now Tōshirō's Reiatsu basically disappeared. Why is it turned into a zombie now? Yukin tried to stop Tōshirō with Bakudo, but was called an idiot by a corner, and Kito's little trick was impossible to stop him, and Hozukimaru's wooden stick threw him away. I wanted to scold a corner for being too ruthless, but suddenly I saw a corner in the distance, and my right leg was completely frozen. If it wasn't for one blow from the corner, I guess I would have been killed by Tōshirō. In the Millennium Bloody War, Xiaobai's foreign record was very ugly. He was an amateur in foreign wars, but he was really an expert in fighting civil wars. But in the next second, Tōshirō jumped to Yijiao's side and stabbed him twice. Attacking a corner. Seeing this, Gongqin was immediately annoyed, and hurried forward to stop him, but he was not Tōshirō's opponent, and just about to release Bankai, he was slashed by Tōshirō, and fell to the ground in agony. In the blink of an eye, the two were killed in an instant. Zaraki Kenpachi outside the video is even more out of breath. Tōshirō, you hurt my subordinates, I'm tired of working. He burst into a strong Reiatsu in an instant, and was about to leave the team building to ask Tōshirō for an explanation. If you want to say which team is the most protective, it must be the 11th team. The chief was cut, and Kenpachi, as the captain, could not remain indifferent. Aegean, don't be impulsive, Captain Hitsugaya is being controlled, it's an unintentional move. Yakion Liupa pulled Kenpachi, trying to stop him. Yumi and Yaikaku also quickly grabbed Kenpachi, and Captain Hitsugaya hasn't done anything to the two of us right now. The three worked together to stop Zaraki Kenpachi. Kenpachi flicked his sleeves. HMPH, I'll chop him up on the battlefield then. Gongqin. Corner. In the video, Kurotsuchi Mayuri looks particularly excited, and he has already noticed the clue. Although Tōshirō is a zombie but remains in the same state as in life, Bumby has self-awareness, but Tōshirō is unconscious. It is quite possible that Tōshirō was zombified before dying. Giselle agrees with Kurotsuchi Mayuri's conjecture. Become a zombie before death, the cells are still relatively fresh, and there is no consciousness that can be manipulated arbitrarily. At this time, Arankar stepped forward to attack Tōshirō, but was instantly killed. At a critical moment, Kurotsuchi Mayuri stopped Tōshirō and said to him, Captain Hitsugaya, are you interested in becoming my experimental material? Don't worry, I'm very gentle. Of course, everything is for Seraiti. Tōshirō made a move without saying a word. Kurotsuchi Mayuri reacted quickly and dodged, and took the opportunity to release his own spider silk. Immediately, the two took out Zanpakuto and crossed each other, but Tōshirō's attacks were all blocked. Is it incredible that you can see through your sword? Kurotsuchi Mayuri sneered. I never thought that Tōshirō would actually speak. I've heard this sentence before, but so what? Bankai. Daiguren Hirenmaru. Chapter 23, number 43. Hirako is on the list. Bankai. Daiguren Hirenmaru. Tōshirō releases Bankai, and huge ice crystals and red lotus dragons sprout from behind. In just an instant, the icy Hirenmaru pierced through Kurotsuchi Mayuri's chest. Hi, Captain Hitsugaya, you are really strong. Kurotsuchi Mayuri's face showed pain, and his body began to slowly disintegrate. Kurotsuchi Mayuri is dead. Seraiti numerous Shinigami pupils explode in an instant. The captains of the other divisions may not be too important, but the captain of the 12th division, Kurotsuchi Mayuri, cannot die. You must know that he is the director of the Technology Development Bureau and a scientist. It mainly develops new technologies and new spiritual tools. Although there are other members of the Technology Development Bureau, Kurotsuchi Mayuri is the core. If he dies, Seraiti technology will go back 100 years. Manager, it seems that Kurotsuchi Mayuri has been killed. Yasume said calmly with eyes wide open. Urahara Kazuki shook his head, how can you kill that guy with this method? Team 8, Jingle Chunshui grinned, and glanced at Naneo aside. Little Naneo, Captain Ni's acting skills need to be improved. The team members felt that Kurotsuchi Mayuri was killed, but the captains knew that he was not that vulnerable. Sure enough, Kurotsuchi Mayuri, who was stabbed in the video, turned into ice and dissipated. But in the next second, Kurotsuchi Mayuri appeared in front of Tōshirō intact. The scene just now happened again. Tōshirō slashed at Kurotsuchi Mayuri again. But always after the slash, Kurotsuchi Mayuri, who was turned into ice, will reappear intact. Captain Hitsugaya, I have several drugs to test on you, can you cooperate? Even if Tōshirō didn't have self-awareness, he was still in a daze. He had already killed him, so why did he come back to life? What's going on here? Tōshiro's eyes widened in disbelief. Oh, what's the matter? Has the brain started to notice? Kurotsuchi Mayuri smiled lightly. Your Anne, Captain Hitsugaya, how many times did this happen just now? Tōshirō was already confused. As if falling into Izanami, the same scene repeats itself. My medicine can bring users a brand new and excellent experience every time, power beyond human intelligence, perception, reaction, courage. And it will also give you the power to see through the past. Kurotsuchi Mayuri explained. In other words, when Tōshirō passes a specific point in the battle, it will return to a specific time node, and the cycle will repeat itself. And that specific point is to kill Kurotsuchi Mayuri. As long as Tōshirō doesn't kill Kurotsuchi Mayuri, his future continues forever, but if he kills Kurotsuchi Mayuri, his future stops at that point in time. And once the number of times of returning to the past exceeds 10 times, it will cause serious side effects, and the organs in charge of body balance will be completely paralyzed for 30 seconds. At this time, Tōshirō felt abnormal and fell to the ground in pain. Kurotsuchi Mayuri liberates Kizojizo, takes out the blood composition changing potion from it, and injects it into Tōshirō. As Tōshirō screamed, blackness spread across his skin. The video playback ends here. Some people are also inexplicable. In this world, Kurosaki Ichigo was stunned. When did baby son drug Captain Hitsugaya? He didn't notice it at all. Ha ha ha, baby son. Hearing this, Renji couldn't help laughing out loud, wondering what kind of reaction Kurotsuchi Mayuri would have if he heard this title. It should be in Tōshirō's past. Ishida Uryu looked solemn, and Kurotsuchi Mayuri's fighting methods were simply too cunning. Use drugs to your advantage on the battlefield, what a mad scientist. The Invisible Empire, the Ice Palace. Damn it, what method did that son baby use to make the battle scene repeat? And why did Tōshirō become conscious? Giselle couldn't understand. Facing Kurotsuchi Mayuri, he felt completely crushed. It's terrible, Giselle has been completely crushed. The deadly Askin put on a Kizaru face. Blame that Tōshirō for not being able to live up to expectations. If you control the other captains, such as Zaraki Kenpachi, you will probably win. Giselle slapped the table angrily. It's just that he thinks too much. Kenpachi's Reiatsu is completely out of his control. Juban team. Rangaku looked down at Tōshirō with a slightly worried look on his face. Tōshirō in the picture was injected with unknown potion by Kurotsuchi Mayuri, and finally even his skin turned black. Really all right. Fortunately, Captain Ni stopped me in time, otherwise I wouldn't forgive myself. Tōshirō wasn't angry that Kurotsuchi Mayuri injected him with the experimental drug, but felt that he was doing the right thing. Giselle's ability of the dead is disgusting. Now that the captain knows the information, even if he faces him again in the future, he will definitely not be tricked. Rangaku said. Tōshirō nodded. He was a little worried at the moment. He was defeated by Giselle, so does he still have a chance to enter the battle list? However, the 43rd place on the combat power list was also announced at this time. 43rd place in the battle list, Hiroko Shinji. Name: Hiroko Shinji. Force: Visored. Identity: Shinigami. Abilities: Bankai, Hollow. Attack: 82. Defense: 80. Speed: 82. Intelligence: 83. Vitality: 80. Reiatsu: 81. Kido: 77. Combat power: 350,000. In this world, Visored. Idiot, you're on the list. Holding a baseball bat, Hiyori looked at Hiroko boredly. The rest of the members also looked at him. Hachigan. I always thought Hiroko would be on the list, and it did. Yadomaru Lisa. Is it the 43rd place? The corner of Hiroko's mouth twitched. Baga, it's already pretty good to be on the list. Okay, we also pay attention to the ranking. The throne of the Void Knight Palace. Hiroko, are you only 43rd? Aizen smiled, but without careful observation, he couldn't see it at all. Urahara Kazuki, it seems that you have successfully helped them master Hollow. Aizen found that on Hiroko's data panel, besides Bankai, there is also Hollow on the ability panel. At the same time, there is an additional item of Kido. Kido Aizen is good at awe. Against Comrade Habach, he can cast Black Coffin without casting Hado's 90, or even 5 Swirling Dragons of Destruction without casting Quicken Hado's 90. On his data panel, Kido definitely gets full marks. Chapter 24. Welcome, Inverted World. Seeking data. As Lidodo and Giselle's names were engraved on the list, the big screen began to play video again. Soul Society, Rukongai, Karakura Town Battlefield. This is the false Karakura town created by Yamamoto Genryuzai in Rukongai through Boundary Formation Pillar. At this time, Gote 13's Jingle Chunshui and many vice captains have been defeated by Arankar. Seeing that the situation was not good, Arankar Wanda Wise appeared again, and ordered the one-eyed Arankar Fowler to blow out Yamamoto Motoryusai Shikai's, Chunguo Yansheng, that controlled the three of Aizen. I hate the smell. Ichimaru Jin emerged from the flames, shook his sleeves, and complained. If you want to talk about the smell of death, this is it. I agree. Tusen Kanami said. Isn't it good? The smell of death should be the scene. Aizen stepped into the air and stood on the sky. 3 rebellious captains appeared together. Seeing this scene, many captains and vice-captains of Seraiti were shocked. Team 5, Hinamori saw Aizen appear, staring at the big screen with glowing eyes. Captain Aizen, you're not here to destroy the Soul Society, are you? She muttered to herself, deceiving herself. She was right. Aizen did not come to destroy the Soul Society, but to make the King Key in Karakura town, and then enter the Soul King Palace. In the third team, Kira stared at Ichimaru Jin next to Aizen, and his eyes widened. He never believed that Ichimaru Jin would rebel. But Ichimaru Jin is really following Aizen, fighting against the Shinigami. Captain Ichimaru Jin. Kira's inner belief collapsed in an instant. In Division 9, Shuhei's reaction was almost the same as Kira's. Those who are not afraid of the sword they hold are not qualified to hold a sword. Captain Tusen, you taught me this. Team Juban, Rangaku's colored contact lenses kept flashing. Silver, why are you doing this? ... Void Night Palace. It seems that this is a picture in the near future. I don't know if it will be successful. Ichimaru Jin narrowed his eyes, his voice was speculative. Silver, do you think we will fail? Aizen turned his head slightly, looking at Ichimaru Jin solemnly. Yeah, of course not. Ichimaru Jin hastily denied it, but what he said was not whether Aizen could succeed. It's about whether you can succeed. The appearance of the 3 of Aizen in the screen made Shinigami, who was already at a disadvantage, worse. Just when everyone thought Soul Society was going to die. Etc. A voice came from afar. Hirako leads the Visor debut. Soon they showed their powerful abilities. Facing the Jillian army summoned by Wanda Wise, they put on masks and entered the hollow state. Jillian was as fragile as a blank sheet of paper in front of them. Sero, Tier Jillian, Kido. The massacres in various ways shocked Tōshirō, Komamura Sajin and others. They became team captains relatively late, and they didn't know the origins of Hirako and others. Hirako, however, went alone to find Aizen. Well, our hollow is at your fingertips. Hirako looked down at Aizen, put his hand on the mask, and the mask disappeared. Aizen, let's make a deal. He was once framed by Aizen and became the subject of Hollow's experiment. He almost died because of Hollow, and Hirako was able to fully master Hollow with the help of Urahara Kazuki, and he should be, thanks, to Aizen for giving him this opportunity. Hirako raised his arms and swung Zanpakuto to caress, and the blade produced countless afterimages in the air and chopped towards Aizen's neck. Aizen remained motionless, very steady. Just as he was about to succeed, Tusen Kanami made a sneak attack and stabbed horizontally. Hirako quickly bent to dodge and pulled away from his position in an instant. Missed. Tusen Kanami picked up the Zanpakuto. Don't be stupid, hit. Hirako raised his head, and there was a wound above the eye bone, and blood flowed all over the left half of his face. I wanted to chop off your head from the left eye, but I thought I couldn't hit it with this strength. You're pretty good at talking, you're a badass. To die under the knife of Sha Sanlin, surely life would be worse than death. Tusen Kanami held the knife against his body, and the moment he sprinted with the knife, he was punched on the blade by Komamura Sajin. Hiyori outside the video gave Hirako a blank look, and taunted. Idiot, I was almost killed by a blind man. If it weren't for Hirako's quick reaction and dodge, it would not be as simple as being cut through the brow bone. Hirako didn't like it when he heard it. When he was attacking Aizen, Tusen Kanami made a sneak attack. How could he hurt himself if he attacked head-on? Hachigan. Hirako's right, that blind man is a scumbag. Team 12, Kurotsuchi Mayuri stared at the screen and kept shaking his head. Aizen has most likely fused with Hogyoku, Hirako Shinji, how could you be his match? Not to mention Hirako Shinji, but all the captains together may not necessarily be Aizen's opponent. As soon as the video screen changed, Hirako faced Aizen alone again. Aizen pulls out Kyoka Suigetsu. Hirako's eyes sank. I finally drew my sword, I really took it easy. Are you afraid? It's useless to keep silent, no matter how pretentious you are, there must be some concerns. 100 years ago you said with your own mouth, I shut my heart to you, kept silent, and even let you go, so you don't know my Zanpakuto's ability. Quote. Hirako didn't trust Aizen even for a moment. The hidden Zanpakuto ability is the key to defeating Aizen. So what if I don't know, do you think I can do nothing? Aizen remained calm. Hirako, on the other hand, knows that Aizen's Kyoka Suigetsu can control the nerves of others in battle. I said, Aizen, the Zanpakuto who can 100% control the nerves of others is not just your Kyoka Suigetsu. Hirako also took out the Zanpakuto stroking, fall down, stroking. The purple Reiatsu swept over in an instant, Zanpakuto's form had changed, and an iron ring appeared under the hilt. Hirako controls Zanpakuto to spin quickly in his hands. Your knife form is very interesting. Aizen said lightly. That's right, it's called incisive caress. However, I didn't notice any strange changes. Apart from the iron ring appearing under the handle, no other changes have been made. Aizen said tentatively. You said it can control the nerves, am I right? Hirako smiled evilly. What are you talking about, it has changed. Hearing this, Aizen was shocked. He did smell a fragrance, and a large amount of pink mist spread around him. Welcome, inverted world. In a trance, a voice entered his eardrums. Chapter 25, all 5 senses open, Aizen's acting skills are really good. Seeking data. When Aizen regained his composure, the pink mist had disappeared, and everything in front of him, the buildings, the sky, and Hiroko Shinji, were all reversed. In Aizen's eyes, he is stepping on the sky, but the earth is above his head. Has the world turned upside down? People outside the video were shocked when they saw Hiroko Shinji Zanpakuto's Shikai. Juban team. Tōshirō didn't know Hiroko Shinji before, and he didn't know that he was the captain of the 5th division of Gotei 13. But this person's Zanpakuto is only Shikai, and he can even create the ability to turn the world upside down. Is this the Zanpakuto that controls the nerves? Knowing that his own Hirainmaru, who can control the weather, Shikai only gains the ice attribute afterwards. And Hiroko's stroking Zanpakuto, which controls the nerves, has a completely different form of release. He has seen Aizen's Kyoka Suigetsu, who will complete hypnosis. As long as Shikai who has seen Kyoka Suigetsu once, he will be complete hypnosis from that moment on, and then he will fall into complete hypnosis whenever Kyoka Suigetsu is released. Even if he knows that he has been hypnosis, there is no way to escape. No one knew that Kyoka Suigetsu turned out to be the illusion Zanpakuto before Aizen's defection. Hiroko Shinji's Zanpakuto ability is also hidden very deeply. The confrontation between the two innervated Zanpakuto is interesting. In the video screen, a breeze blew a lock of hair on the front of Aizen's forehead, and he stood still, looking dignified. This is the ability of Inverse Caress. It can reverse the opponent's control organs. It's as interesting as the framing props in the cube game, right? But you don't play games, do you? Hiroko said lightly. In Aizen's eyes, he was hanging upside down. Immediately, Hiroko's calm face instantly turned ferocious, and he rushed towards Aizen. Hearing this, the corners of Aizen's mouth raised slightly, and he said unhurriedly, "It's really interesting, everything is reversed, no matter whether it's up, down, left, right, or front and back." He turned around suddenly, and the Kyoka Suigetsu in his hand accurately found Hiroko who was attacking beside him, and said briskly, "You think I didn't see the clue?" However, when Kyoka Suigetsu and Nifu collided, there was no collision spark as expected, but Aizen's right arm was cut open. "It seems that you didn't see the clue." Hiroko appeared behind Aizen, and explained with a chuckle. Up, down, left, right, front, back are reversed, and the direction of seeing and being injured is also reversed. Up, down, left, right, front, back, the direction of the damage, in a short period of time, especially in battle, if you want to accurately judge, you don't have the heart to fight at all. Therefore, in this battle, Hiroko Shinji is in complete advantage. Team 7. Komamura Sajin stared wide-eyed, his face full of surprise. Change the opponent's senses so that they can't hit the spirit, and put them in battle, basically invincible. Komamura Sajin sensed Aizen's strength during the battle at Sokyoku Terrace. And now that mask has a complete upper hand in the battle. Really strong. He clenched his fist and hammered at the wall of the team building, and said in a deep voice, "Antusen. I will definitely bring you back." Void Knight Palace. Aizen sat on the throne, looking forward to the next scene very much. Don't look at yourself hurt in the video, but everything is under his control. Of course, Jin next to him also noticed that the advantage that Hiroko Shinji gained on the scene was nothing more than nothing. Following Aizen all the year round, he doesn't think that a person with such a thoughtful mind in Aizen will not release Kyoka Suigetsu early on the battlefield. Perhaps, the battle in the picture is all an illusion. On screen, in the perversion space, Hiroko Shinji is in absolute advantage. Whether it is Shinigami, a spot or humans, vision is the most used, and the information provided by vision is used to fight. In this space, it is basically impossible to fight with vision. Even if he reacted, his reflexes couldn't keep up. Unfortunately, the more battle-tested, the easier it is to rely on visual reflexes to fight. As Hiroko said, holding the back strokes with both hands, he walked through the air, pointing directly at Aizen. Aizen slashes, but Hiroko dodges every time. Here, Hiroko attacked from above, looked at Aizen who had no fighting spirit, and asked in bewilderment, "Why didn't you fight back, Aizen?" Facing this slash, the moment Aizen made a move, his right leg was slashed again. Twice. It's amazing to be able to withstand multiple attacks even when everything is upside down, but that's all. Hiroko squatted in the air, and what he said didn't seem to be a compliment. But he didn't realize it at all. Aizen was injured just now, it was just acting. I can only say that Aizen's acting skills are really good. Die, Aizen. Hiroko attacked again, but at this moment, Aizen came in an instant, Kyoka Suigetsu fell down, and blood sprayed on Hiroko's back. What happened? It was obviously Hiroko's attack, but it turned out to be Aizen's counterattack. Hiroko outside the video frowned, a little unbelievable. Is Aizen already strong enough to determine the point of his attack in an extreme time? Impossible, absolutely impossible. If it is said that there are precautions in advance, it is still in the past. But the self in the video is a completely irregular attack. In actual combat, it is already very remarkable to judge the enemy's attacking intention, but in a state where everything is upside down, it is also possible to accurately judge the landing point and give a counterattack. Get Hogyoku's Aizen, already that strong. In the video, Aizen stood calmly and waved his lips. What am I supposed to do? It turns out that it's just an illusion of the naked eye, relying on vision to fight. You said that, right? Who is it that fights in that way? How do you say that? Although surprised, Hiroko's voice was much weaker because of his back injury. Don't be surprised, you judged my location with vision. From the point of view of my fighting method with all 5 senses, you only need to change your senses a little, and everything will be easy to handle. Aizen looked at Hiroko with tilted eyes, and continued. Compared with me, who controls all 5 senses, your strength is vastly different. Pediatrics only, Hiroko Shinji.